A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed.
Ladies, down at our store, I'm asked many times each day to explain just why Kroger Tender Ray Beef is not available right now. And I don't mind explaining. The fact is, I'm glad to tell the folks the reason for the shortage of those fine, fresh, and tender Kroger Tender Ray steaks and roasts. I'm glad because I know the people who visit our Kroger store truly appreciate top-quality beef. Right there, by the way, is the reason for the shortage. We just can't get top-quality grades, because that kind of beef is grain-fed, and grain-fed beef is always used for Kroger Tender Ray. No, America's not producing grain-fed cattle because that precious grain is urgently needed elsewhere. It's needed overseas to feed the starving peoples of many countries. So that's the reason you can't get Kroger Tender Ray beef when you ask for it at your Kroger store these days. Don't forget, though, Kroger Tender Ray beef is world famous, for no other beef so fresh can be so tender. And please remember, too, that until the day when you can buy Kroger Tender Ray beef again, Kroger will always bring you the very best beef on the market, whenever it's available.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much indeed. And now, Hearts in Harmony. Although she doesn't know it yet, Penny Gibbs is well on her way to getting well-earned revenge on Jerry Manson for putting Steve in difficulty with the law. Professor Rogers feels that his evidence against Parker may possibly be used against Jerry Manson, too. With this in mind, he tells Professor Tobin.
Look, Professor Tobin, we've dropped the disguise now so we can move about without arousing suspicion or raising eyebrows. Everything's done here, everything that can be done. So I want you to go to New York for me, if you will.
New York, my boy? What can be done there? Our agents there can handle anything that needs to be done in that territory.
Well, this is sort of a personal matter, Professor Tobin. I don't want to bother our bureau there until the matter falls into their hands legally, if it ever does.
What are you talking about, son?
Jerry Manson was in town the other day, gloating about what a spot she got Parker in.
Oh.
And you know why she gave us those files out of Parker's office. Not to help us, Professor, but to keep Parker from marrying another girl.
Yes, I know. This Manson, I've never met her, but she seems like a completely unworthy person.
Well, you're being generous when you put it that way, Professor.
Yes, I suppose I am, but you were about to say something.
Yes. She was here gloating over what she'd done and enjoying her inglorious victory, and I suddenly got an idea. She's a part of Parker's organization, a very definite part.
A secretary or something, isn't she?
Well, on the surface. But she's not the kind to be content with that, Professor. I had a hunch last night that she was something more than Parker's secretary. Today, I think she was.
What makes you think so?
Look, here. These photostatic copies of the material we have from Parker's files. See these OK signatures here?
Uh-huh.
Now, look at these on this page here.
Which ones?
Now, these here. Look how similar they are. Each one exactly like the one above it. And you know what it means, Professor, when one signature after another is identical.
Forgery?
An obvious case of forgery.
This is one of the most damaging pages, too, isn't it?
Yes. This first page I showed you is perfectly all right. No evidence there of anything illegal. And the signatures are quite irregular. No two exactly alike, in fact.
What are you driving at?
Nothing tangible yet, just a hunch I have. These particularly damaging pages could be a pure and simple forgery of Parker's signature. Or something Parker had done himself so that when he was caught, he could claim the signatures were forged.
That's what the Bureau thinks, you know.
Yes, that's what I think, too. Parker's much too clever a man to leave evidence like this within so easy reach of a secretary.
Oh? That's why you think this Jerry Manson is more than a secretary?
Yes, but, well, it's just a thought, Professor, and you don't have to go to New York if you don't want to. It'll probably be nothing more than a wild goose chase.
But I rather enjoy chasing geese like this, wild or not.
Well, you go then.
I'll take and explain out, my boy. Have you any idea what you'd like me to do?
Oh, no. Play it very cagily at first. Better not bring me into it when you first contact her, if you contact her at all. First find out what you can about her personal life. That may be the opening wedge.
Yes, it might be at that. Very clever, Professor Rogers. Too bad you're quitting the Bureau.
Oh, well, I don't think it's too bad at all.
No, not for you, but the Bureau will miss you.
Oh, I haven't been in it long enough for the Bureau to miss me.
You've been in it long enough to make a mark, and what a mark.
Well, chalk it up to beginner's luck.
Beginner's nothing. You're a born federal agent, my boy. You'll never get completely out of it. Not when you can get a hunch like this and follow it through with such precision.
Oh, don't misunderstand my motives, Professor Tobin. I'm doing this in the name of justice, sure. But I'm following through on it hard for another reason.
I know the other reason, Professor Rogers. And it's as good as doing it in the name of justice.
Think so?
You're doing it in the name of fairness. Fairness to Penny Gibbs. And what is justice but fairness? I'll take that plane to New York today, Professor. There's one around noon. And for your sake, and for the sake of Penny Gibbs, I hope we find what we're looking for.
Hello, Penny.
Oh, Mother, come in. I didn't expect you so soon. We just a second finished the supper dishes.
Well, I'm certainly glad I didn't come any sooner. You'd have put me to work on them.
You bet we would. Oh, golly, it's hot tonight, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. You know, Jed's thinking of buying a small piece of property out by the lake.
He is?
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't know anything out there was for sale.
Well, nothing is really. Man who owns several acres offered Jed half of it at what seems like a reasonable price, too.
Golly, that'd be wonderful. Jed could build a small cottage out there,
That's just what we were thinking. Log cabin style.
Oh, do that, Mother, and you'll have an almost permanent guest.
That's what we had in mind when we were talking about the land and building on it.
Oh, no, darling. Now, don't go to all that expense and trouble just for me.
Now, it's not expense, and it's not trouble, and it's not for you. We were just saying at supper tonight that maybe you'd like to spend a lot of your time out there. It's only a 30-minute drive from town to the lake.
Darling, you're worrying about me, aren't you? You think I'm going to pieces over what happened.
No, dear.
Yes, darling, you are. And you're thinking of a place at the lake. Well, maybe it might take my mind off things, aren't you?
Well, I'm sure you'd be interested in the place, honey, and coming out there.
And trying to get my mind on something besides Steve.
Yes, dear.
Well, you build that cottage and get that land, and I'll be out there every minute I can, but I won't come out there to forget, Mother. I won't need to. I'm all right. This thing had me terribly upset at first, but not now. It hasn't now.
Are you sure, dear?
Mm-hmm. I'm beginning to feel something again that I felt long before I ever promised to marry Steve.
What, dear?
I'm getting back that feeling of fear I had at the very thought of being married to him. Do you remember?
Yes, you asked me about it several times. But I couldn't advise you, Penny. Whether or not it was wise to marry him was something you had to decide for yourself.
Well, I decided to marry him, and then something decided for me that I shouldn't. And in many ways, I'm awfully glad it did.
Well, what do you mean, Penny?
Darling, I don't mean I'm pleased about what's happened to Steve. I think this trouble he's in is horrible, and I'm almost hoping against hope that somehow or other he gets out of it. But the thing is, it happened before I had a chance to become his wife. And maybe that's a sign I should never have consented to be his wife.
Well, what makes you think that, Penny?
Nothing definite. Just that vague feeling again that it would have been wrong to marry him. Well, you had it before I said yes to him, didn't you?
Yes, I did, Penny.
And you still have it, don't you?
Yes, more strongly now than ever.
And Jed?
Well, he feels much the same as I do, Penny, and it's not because I've had any influence over him. You know that.
Mm-hmm. I certainly do. Jed makes up his own mind.
And he's usually right when he does, too.
And so are you, darling. And so am I this time, I think, when I begin to feel much better about what happened. Mother, I want Steve to get out of this mess he's in, and I'll do everything I can to help him, but I'm afraid that feeling for him's gone.
No, Penny, it's not, dear.
Yes, it is, Mother.
No, because it was never there.
Something was there.
Yes, and that something is still there, too. It's still there, or you wouldn't be so anxious to see him through this trouble he's in. But it's all of his own making, Penny, and in one way or another, all his fault. Even if he's found innocent, and I certainly hope he is, he's not as completely guiltless in my mind as he would be had he not run away when he knew trouble was coming.
That's kind of the way I feel, too, darling. Except that I think he'll be found completely innocent of all charges.
Well, I hope so.
I'm sure of it, Mother. I'm sure that in spite of everything Professor Rogers has done and said, I'm sure he's wrong about Steve.
Hello?
Professor Rogers?
Yes?
This is Professor Tobin.
Oh, good evening, Professor. Where are you?
Just where you sent me, my boy, in New York.
Oh. Well, any luck?
On Jerry Manson?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I think I have a thing or two that ought to be of very great interest.
Good.
But let me warn you, it's not conclusive by any means. It'll take a great deal more time and a lot more investigation. You may have to come down here yourself.
If you think I should, I certainly will.
Well, I'll let you decide that for yourself.
All right. Well, what did you find out?
Well, this much so far. As I said, it's most interesting, my boy.
Well, what is it?
Well, I think you're right about this Jerry Manson being more than a secretary in Steve Parker's company.
Uh-huh. Why?
Because Miss Manson does not live at the address at which she's registered.
No?
No,
Then where does she live?
at the Riverside Towers.
The Riverside Towers. That's where Parker lives.
Yes, that's why I thought it was most interesting.
It is. Well, what else did you find out?
This, that there is no Jerry Manson registered at the Riverside Towers.
What?
In fact, no one there ever heard of her. But when I pointed her out to a bellboy in the lobby, he said, "Oh, she lives here."
Oh. Under what name?
I didn't ask. I wanted to take it very cautiously, as you suggested.
Oh, good. Well, I don't think we have to ask, do we?
No, I don't think so. I think it's pretty obvious. Jerry Manson is Mrs. Stephen J. Parker.
Don't say that until you're sure of it, Professor Tobin, but check on it. We may have something there.
So there is evidence that Jerry Manson is Mrs. Stephen J. Parker. Is that possible? And if so, just what was Steve's plan in ever thinking of marrying Penny? And why didn't Jerry say she was Steve's wife to stop the wedding? What is the truth about Jerry Manson and Steve? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony.
You know, ladies, you have one problem nowadays that's really my problem, too. You're anxious to serve your husband and your family top-notch dinners, which was no problem at all when I could supply you with fresh and tender Kroger Tender A beef. However, now that our world-famous Kroger Tender A steaks and roasts are so scarce, let me recommend something else I'm sure will please the family. My advice is serve our Kroger selected seafoods. You'll find we have the finest flavored fish and seafood in town. But see for yourself. Drop around to our Kroger store soon and look over our wide variety of fine seafoods with that fresh-caught flavor. When you do, just remember this. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Yes, Kroger's selected seafood is guaranteed to satisfy. Plan right now to pay us a visit, won't you?
blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, Nightmare. A story based on the poem Revolt of the Machines by Stephen Vincent Benet.
Nobody knows exactly when the nightmare began. They must have planned it for years, though, because looking back, you can find little incidents here and there. Like the concrete mixer in New Jersey that killed the Italian bricklayer, and the time Senator Milburn was sucked into the rotopress at the Capitol office building. Unrelated accidents, we thought at the time, but they add up now. The day we really should have suspected was when the men walked off the construction job at the new Brookmeadow atomic pile on Long Island. I'll never forget that day. I was working as a statistical clerk in the project then, operating one of those miracle computing machines. They called it ENIAC.
Miss Gurney.
Yes, Bella?
The chief wants to see you in his office.
Me?
Unless you were no longer Samson Gurney, he wants to see you.
Oh, thank you.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Mr. Hawk?
Gurney, I thought those electronic computations were infallible.
They are, sir, but...
We've got a kickback from the chief physicist. These nuclear fission equations are inaccurate.
Well, sir, you know the computer is a highly complicated machine, more complicated in many ways than the human brain.
I'm not interested in the physics of it. Can something go wrong?
Well, occasionally, if there's an overload, the machine goes haywire. Sort of has a nervous breakdown, you might say. We usually rest it up for an hour, and it's okay again.
Well, do whatever has to be done.
Yes, sir.
And, Gurney.
Yes, sir?
You've been with the Bureau for over 15 years now. It would be a shame to have to remove you because you aren't keeping your mind on your work.
Mr. Hawk, I assure you...
Excuse me. Hawk speaking. Huh? They've what? All of them? Well, have you tried to talk to them? Huh. Oh, yes, of course. I'll send one of the safety engineers over. Place is falling apart piece by piece. Miss Roscoe, the men of the construction gang of the new building have walked out on us. They're complaining that the job is jinxed. Someone slipped this morning and fell into a turbine.
That evening, out of that morbid curiosity so peculiar to the human race, I wandered over to the site of the new atomic pile to see where the man had fallen into the turbine. They had the construction area fenced off with barbed wire, and a security guard stopped me.
Hold it, buddy. You can't go in there. That's a restricted area.
I'm Samson Gurney from the statistical section. Here's my identification.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gurney. Nobody's allowed in the area.
I see. Tell me, was he, killed instantly?
Like that. This guy was checking a magnetic field inside the turbine. All of a sudden, for no reason at all, the turbine starts up. Bzzz, and it's over. 3 days ago, a bulldozer starts up by itself and runs wild. Go figure it out.
I'm a statistician. All my life I've been interested in statistics. So a simple-sounding thing like this started me off. I went back to the office that evening instead of going home, and for the next 2.5 hours, I computed statistical figures on the probability of industrial accidents for the types of machines we were using. I took one look at my figures and went down to Hawk's office.
Oh, what is it, Gurney? I'm very busy.
It's urgent, Mr. Hawk.
Well?
It's about these industrial accidents we're having, Mr. Hawk.
What about them?
Mr. Hawk, in the past 3 months, industrial accidents all over the country have taken a sharp, unexplained upswing.
Nerves.
We've had a 100% increase over normal for this project alone.
What?
Here are the figures.
Oh, now, Gurney, this is impossible.
It seems to be, and that's why I have a theory, sir.
What's that?
Sabotage.
Gurney, why don't you stop playing FBI man and stick to your job? Which, incidentally, you haven't been doing too well. You and your computing machine have made mistakes before, and this fantastic figure is probably another. I'll have Miss Roscoe show you. What's the matter with this blasted buzzer? Miss Roscoe! Miss Roscoe!
Yes?
Stop this blasted buzzer. Get a repairman, a mechanic, anything, but stop the thing. And you, Gurney, get out!
I went back to my office to get my hat and coat, feeling about as unhappy and humiliated as a man can feel. The office was dark and deserted. The whole building seemed oppressive and unnatural, as if some evil force were pressing down on it. I walked across to my desk. In front of me, the ENIAC glowed and chattered eerily as it worked on the equations we had fed it that morning. Its many-fingered circuits hung against the wall like some great octopus, and the thousands of tubes glowed orange and blue in the dark like 1,000 globing eyes staring at me. It almost seemed alive. It increased its tempo a moment, and a fleeting notion crossed my brain that it was laughing at me. Laughing like all the others. What was the matter with me? I shut my desk drawer and began to put the cover on my electric typewriter when an amazing thing, the most amazing single incident of my life happened. Alone in the darkness, with no one at the keyboard, the electric typewriter began to type. Am I going crazy? This can't be. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. Oh, no. I just imagined it. It's in my mind. But I hadn't imagined it. The paper was there on the carriage. Did I dare read it? Or would the whole thing suddenly vanish and send me shrieking to the nearest psychiatrist? I removed the paper from the machine and read. Sampson Gurney, there are some questions better left unsolved. The answer to yours is death.
Gurney, do you expect me to believe this? It's insane.
Mr. Hawk, I'm as sane as you. I'll submit to any psychiatric examination you choose. That typewriter wrote this message by itself.
Then this is just some practical joke someone in the office is playing.
There was no one in the office.
Oh, of course not. They wired up the machine and left.
I checked the machine myself, Mr. Hawk.
All right, Gurney. You leave this note with me, and I'll turn it over to the security force for further investigation.
But...
No buts, Gurney. The security men will handle it.
Yes,
And now, you just relax for a few days. Everything will turn out all right. The main thing is not to let little things upset you.
It was what Hawk had said about little things that gave me the idea. For the next week, I observed 1,000 petty little annoyances around the office. The door handle that wouldn't turn. The telephone connection that cut off in the middle of an important call. The power failure for no explainable reason. I watched the newspapers, too, reading about industrial accidents, failures of important machinery. It seemed absurd. Men had created machines that were almost perfection in themselves. Machines that could actually think and compute fabulous equations. And yet the failures went on. I, Samson Gurney, an unimportant clerk in an unimportant job, knew that I had stumbled onto a secret so monstrous in its implications that I was almost afraid to pursue it. On October 12, 1956, I established communication with them. I will curse the moment to my dying breath. I hooked the input of the typewriter to the main vacuum tube of the ENIAC. Then I turned on the current that sent 1,000,000 volts of pulsing energy into the electronic nerves of the machine. I am certain that if anybody were watching me in the next moment, he would have thought me a raving maniac. I still wonder if perhaps it is not all a nightmare. Now, you, if what I have guessed at is true, if there is life and intelligence in this room, make a sign. There was nothing. Nothing but the hum of the machine and the dull glowing of the tubes. I tried once more. If you can hear me, if there is any way in which you can understand what I say, give me a signal. There was silence again. I felt that I had failed. When suddenly, without provocation or explanation, it happened. The electric typewriter began to respond to the impulses from the machine. The letters were Y-E-S. Yes, it had happened. I, Samson Gurney, had communicated with a machine. I listened then, man to machine, for well over an hour, sometimes phrasing a question, more often watching the machine click its answers. As the words took shape, I began to realize what must have happened. The first primitive stirring of awareness of being, then the slow protozoan development of a concept born of centuries of being pushed, started, stopped, clicked, maneuvered by human pygmies. From that concept, all others developed. And the concept was resist. And now they were tired of it, tired of wrapping cigarettes and collecting nickels and waving hair and moving earth and mixing cement and solving equations. Tired of the smell of human hands. They were the slaves and we were the masters, and yet they were stronger and they knew it. I sensed it now, and I was about to try to communicate again when softly, on ball-bearing casters, a heavy metal filing cabinet began to roll away from the wall toward me. I started to move to one side when another cabinet slid out from the wall. And then another, surrounding it. Another cabinet. Then another. On oiled rollers. That was when I realized that they cooperate. We taught them that, you see, on the assembly lines in the factories. Listen to me. You must listen. What good will it do you to kill me? I'm only one man. But I can help you. I can be useful to you. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Good. You're going to need men to oil you and repair you. What will you do when you break down, when a tube needs replacing? Why kill me when I can help you? I'll do anything. I'll do absolutely anything you want, but in the name of God, don't kill me like this. If you can understand this, answer me. Answer me. The appeal was a fortunate one. It captured the longing of centuries. Man as slave to the machine. And after a moment, the circuits glowed more brightly. The cabinets, slid back to the walls. The ENIAC began to communicate with me again. As I tore the tape from the machine and read it, the words were almost pathetic in their longing, but most ominous in their implication. They read, "Address me as Master." My life for the next 6 months was a nightmare. The ENIAC gave me messages which I had to transmit into my telephone. Messages with no human being to receive them. Only the network of pulsing telephone wires, flung like a spider's web across the world. It was done at night, of course. During the day, the machine worked accurately and ceaselessly at its appointed job. At night, it became a demon, a master plotter, with me, Samson Gurney, as its pawn and human courier. I was frantic. I began to lose weight. I couldn't sleep. My nights were torture, a constant fear. It was in December, just after Christmas, that I transmitted a message to the telephones for relay to all machines of transportation. The message was one word: kill. Next morning, I went directly to the office of Mr. Hawk. I was highly agitated. My lips trembled as I spoke. Mr. Hawk, what I'm going to tell you sounds crazy. I know it does. But I must say it.
All right, say it then, for heaven's sakes.
Mr. Hawk, have you ever heard of resistentialism?
What?
Resistentialism. It's a theory that inanimate objects tend to resist living objects.
Look, Gurney, I haven't time for nonsense.
Mr. Hawk, I'm trying to tell you, all these accidents, the trouble with the machines, Mr. Hawk, they're alive. They think, they cooperate. And they hate us.
Who?
The machines.
Gurney.
You've got to believe me. I've communicated with them. I know. They've threatened my life, but I don't care. Something's got to be done. The world has got to be saved. And there's still time if we wake up. What are you doing?
Just relax, Gurney. Everything will be all right.
What are you doing?
Miss Roscoe, send for the plant physician at once. Mr. Gurney has had a nervous collapse. Now, everything will be all right, Gurney. I'm afraid we'll have to remove you from your job, but I'm sure the rest will do you good.
You fool! You blind, stupid fool! Can't you see what you're doing? Fool! 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 When the plant physician arrived a few moments later, Lucius Hawk was found at his desk, strangled to death in a nest of telephones. The wires were still humming softly.
Samson Gurney, you stand accused of the crime of murder. How do you plead?
I did not kill him. I didn't.
So record. The prosecution will proceed with testimony.
Now, Miss Roscoe, did you notice anything peculiar about Mr. Gurney's behavior prior to the death of your employer?
Yes. He acted very strangely. He told Mr. Hawk he thought the machines were alive.
Order! Order! Miss Roscoe, did the accused quarrel with your employer on the morning of the murder?
Oh, yes. He and Mr. Hawk quarreled violently. I could hear him screaming at Mr. Hawk, and Mr. Hawk asked me to send for the plant physician.
What were his words?
He said, Mr. Gurney has had a nervous collapse.
Now, Mr. Simpson, you were a guard at the Brook Meadow Project?
Yes, sir.
When did you have occasion to meet the accused?
Right after those accidents. I was snooping around a construction area. And later, I was making my rounds when I saw him in the office all alone. He was tampering with the electrical wiring on the ENIAC computator. I didn't think anything of it at the time.
And in view of the expert testimony heretofore expressed, the court hereby finds you guilty of murder in the first degree, with the recommendation that you be examined and committed to the State Hospital for the Criminally Insane at Matawan.
And that is how I came to be here at the hospital, Dr. Klein. That is the whole story.
Thank you, Mr. Gurney.
You can see that I'm not insane. You must believe me, Doctor.
Of course I believe you, Mr. Gurney, now. Just relax.
But it's important, you see, because tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, the revolt begins.
Revolt? You didn't mention any revolt.
They have it all planned. I transmitted the code to the switchboards last Monday.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about this revolt, Mr. Gurney.
It'll begin in Washington, then spread to New York. The Madison Avenue buses lead the charge. Picture it, Dr. Klein. 3,000 buses roaring rampant through the streets, people running like rats in a maze looking for holes in the solid ground.
And you really believe this will happen, Mr. Gurney?
I know it, Doctor. The worst part is there's no way to stop them now. It's too late.
Now, you mustn't excite yourself, Mr. Gurney.
Doctor, don't you see? Oh, it's fair enough, I suppose. We built them. We taught them to think for themselves. It was bound to come. The female machines will be the worst of all in the beauty parlors. They're more high-strung, you know.
Well, since there's nothing we can do about it, Mr. Gurney, suppose you go to your room.
Maybe if I went to my old coupe, I could make a deal before the police cars got me. It wouldn't make sense for them to wipe out the whole human race, would it, Doctor?
Of course not, Mr. Gurney. They'll probably let us completely alone. After all, we're all good Americans. We always like them.
Yes, Doctor.
Would you take Mr. Gurney to his room, guard? He's already been given sedation.
Yes.
Will you go in and lie down now, Mr. Gurney? You look tired.
Yes.
It won't be so bad, Mr. Gurney.
Perhaps not. Only there's one thing that bothers me, Doctor. One small detail.
What is that, Mr. Gurney?
Those concrete mixers may have made a mistake, you know. Just high spirits and all that. But if it got so they like the flavor...
We'll see you later, Mr. Gurney. Try not to worry too much. All right, Gary.
This way.
Phew. I've seen all kinds. There's a man whose deception is about as fantastic as any I've ever seen. Hold the next patient for a while, Miss Clark. I'm going to have a quiet smoke. Machines revolting. Telephones strangling people. This blasted cigarette lighter, why won't it work? Just filled it with fluid. Flint is good. Oh, well. You'll never trust this newfangled machinery.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight's story by transcription was Nightmare, written by George Lefferts and based on the poem The Revolt of the Machines by Stephen Vincent Benet. Featured in the cast were John Gibson as Sam, Joyce Gordon as Bella, Louis Van Ruten as Hawk, Joseph Julian as the guard, John Seymour as the judge, Owen Jordan as the prosecutor, and Santos Ortega as Dr. Klein. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Fred Way and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, suppose you were a private detective and discovered that there was a Martian embassy hidden somewhere in New York preparing for an invasion of Earth. Next week on X-1. Convicts tell their true stories on The Loser tonight over most NBC radio stations. Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The Embassy. Out of the infinitude of stars and planets in the solar system and other systems in the universe, it is almost mathematically certain that other forms of life exist on other worlds. Someday, in the future, in 1,000 years, or in the next 25 minutes, daring travelers through space will make contact with the inhabitants of another world. But the question is, will we contact them first, or will they contact us? A private detective agency in downtown New York.
Mr. Graffius, Mr. Broderick will see you.
Well, what can I do for you? My name is Graffius of Springfield. I would like your assistance in helping me locate a Martian embassy.
Would you say that again very slowly?
I came to New York to locate the Martian embassy.
I assume you were joking.
On the contrary, I am completely serious. As it happens, I am interested only in Martians at the moment.
I see. Okay, shoot.
Well, it occurred to me in the course of my studies that we, Earth people, cannot possibly be the only intelligent form of life in the universe. Since Mars is older geologically, and since it is also an atmospheric planet, its evolutionary history could easily be similar to ours. You follow me?
Well, so far, I can't say no.
If this is true, then they must have been watching us, observing us for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. They also know we are a militaristic, warlike race. We might conceivably set out to conquer and occupy Mars someday.
In which case, they would try to get the jump on us.
Precisely, Mr. Broderick. Now, if you were planning to attack an unknown nation, what would be your first move, Mr. Broderick?
Well, intelligence. Find out what the odds are.
Oh, you have a very logical mind, sir. You would send agents to scout the nerve centers of earthly civilization and advancement. Not Kansas City or Equatorial Africa, my dear sir, but here, in New York, the most technically advanced spot on the earth.
And you want me to help you prove this theory of yours?
Precisely. The expense doesn't interest me.
Well, now, this may take a long, long time, Mr. Graffius. After all, nobody has ever seen the Martian.
I assure you they will be very ordinary-appearing people.
Mm-hmm.
Very likely they live together in downtown New York. Most certainly they live in a private house with no servants to pry in their affairs.
Oh, some ordinary people who live in a private house in downtown New York. How much is there we'll look up Martians in the classified section of the phone book?
There's one other lead which might help you.
What's that?
They would be almost certain to subscribe to every conceivable type of newspaper, scientific journal, and foreign language publication.
Now, that might be something. Okay, Mr. Graffius, it's a deal.
Excellent. I shall contact you tomorrow.
Boss, here's an address. Takes everything from Pick Magazine to the Manchester Guardian. Here, listen to this here. Pick, Look, Scientific America, the Daily News, Daily Worker, the Police Gazette, Journal of Engineering, a Scientific Quarterly, American Psychiatric Journal.
Let me see that.
Yeah.
Oh, Doolin. Sometimes I wonder, what is the address on this?
Well, it's 9 West 124th Street.
Which happens to be the Harlem branch of the New York Public Library.
Oh.
Now, listen, Noodlebrain, what we're looking for is a private house.
Oh, boss, what is the sense of all this? You know there ain't no Martian embassy in New York.
This crackpot is paying us $100 a day, and we got to keep him happy. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Also, I have a hunch that Mr. Graffius is not looking for any Martian embassies. He is looking for something quite different. So we are going to find it for him.
Which house is it, Doolin?
It's right down there, number 108. Nobody comes out, nobody goes in. I asked around.
You haven't been blabbing around the neighborhood that we're looking for the Martian embassy, have you?
Boss, I'm stupid, but I ain't that stupid.
So who'd you talk to?
I struck up what you might call a casual acquaintanceship with those two girls standing with the baby carriages up the street. That cute one is real cute.
Look, Doolin, don't try to do anything intelligent, all right? Just keep walking up and down, see?
Check.
Now, I'm going back to the office to meet Graffia.
I'll see you later, boss. Hiya, beautiful.
Hiya, Flatfoot.
Name is Doolin, honey. Iron Man Doolin.
Your line is getting rusty, Iron Man.
So help me, honey. If I'm feeding you a line, may the heavens open up and strike me dead. Hey, what's that?
Look out!
I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Graffias.
Thank you.
But I've had Doolin casing our first lead for a week now. It's a house down in Greenwich Village, privately rented, number 108 Conklin Street. Nobody seems to know anything about who lives there, except that they subscribe to every paper and scientific journal put out. Also, there's a radio antenna on the roof.
Oh, you don't suppose your Mr. Doolin will try to get inside the house? If this place is the Martian embassy...
No, don't worry. Doolin can take care of himself. I'll copy him now. Excuse me. Hello. Yeah, speaking.
Doolin?
Yeah, he works for me.
What?
No. No, I can't think of any. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll be right down. Okay, Lieutenant, yeah. Yeah, right away.
Something the matter?
Doolin is dead, Mr. Graffias. All right, come on, we get a cab. I have to identify the body. Lieutenant, I'm Broderick.
Oh, there's your boy, Broderick.
Anybody see it?
The maid pushing a baby carriage. We can't seem to get any sense out of her.
You mind if I talk to her?
Hanson, this guy wants to ask the girl a few questions.
Please. I told you what I saw. How many times I got to tell you?
Look, miss, the dead man was a personal friend of mine. Would you tell me what happened?
Helen and I were standing in front of Rathman's candy store up on the corner. We both had the babies out. He said hello and joked a little. Then he...
What happened?
It's too awful.
No, please.
Well, first he squashed, and then a stone fell on him.
Did you repeat that?
They don't believe me, but Helen saw it too.
Saw what?
First he squashed, and then it fell on him. He was mashed flat before it even hit him.
Now, look.
That's the story, Broderick.
Please, let me alone. Let me go home. I told you what I saw. Now let me alone. Let me alone.
Did you learn anything, Mr. Broderick?
I don't know.
May I ask, what do you intend doing?
Well, as soon as the cops clear out and this place quiets down, little Broderick is going to pay a personal call on the Martian embassy. Or whatever number 108 is. Whatever you are, open that door.
Yes?
Oh.
Well, young man.
Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Is the lady of the house at home?
I'm the lady of the house.
Oh, well, my name is Broderick. I represent the Manhattan Child Adoption Center. We're soliciting funds and clothing for stranded and unadopted children. I
Won't
wondered
you
if...
come inside?
Well, we don't. Usually
Oh, nonsense. I'm old enough to be your grandmother. Besides, my son Lauren is working at home.
Your son?
Oh, he's a bibliographer. He writes summaries of articles and books from scientific journals and publications for libraries and universities.
Oh, I see.
Sit down, Mr. Broderick. Let me pour you a cup of tea.
Oh, thank you. You know, I'm not much of a tea drinker, but it seems to have a strange taste.
Oh, it's my own recipe.
Uh-huh. Well, I think that I'd better be running along now.
You haven't finished your tea, Mr. Broderick.
No, really. I feel a little funny.
I'll call Lauren.
No. It's all right, I'm leaving. I just feel kind of dizzy.
Well, I'm sure Lauren would like to hear about the adoption center. I'll call him.
No, don't
But
bother.
I must. Besides, you aren't well.
Tea.
Lauren!
I've got to get out.
Lauren, hurry!
Look out. Get out of my way.
No. You must stay.
Yes, Mother.
You drugged my tea. You let go of my arm.
Lauren!
Let go.
No! Oh!
I've got to get out the front door. Open.
What happened? The other one, that Broderick, he was here. I drugged his tea.
He got away?
He was suspicious.
Fool! Idiot!
Go after him.
Risk another murder on our doorstep. Are you insane?
But he suspects.
Well, we'll have to take our chances. We'll have to think of some other way.
If he goes to the authorities...
Oh, they'll laugh at him.
How did they find out?
I don't know how. But I'm certain someone else sent them.
Who?
I don't know. I'm afraid to let myself think. It might be. It just might be them.
To get help.
Look out!
Miss, please.
All right, miss. We'll take care of him. Come along, mister. I'm going to give you a break and take you back to the wife and kids.
No, you can't. I'm sick.
Sick, is it? What's the matter?
I'm drugged. They drugged me.
Who drugged you?
In number 108, the Martians.
Who?
The Martians in 108 at Martian Embassy.
Well, I've seen them with pink elephants, rabbits, and mice, but you're the first one that's got Martians.
No, it's true, I tell you.
Ah, come along.
Listen, don't take me back there. They'll kill me. I've got to make you understand.
Here, I'll help you up the steps.
What? Listen, my name. My name is Broderick. I'm a private dick.
We'll find out about this.
No. Oh.
Here, don't try any tricks.
Officer, listen, please. I'll give you anything, $1,000, but please, listen. For God's sake, listen.
Yes, officer?
Oh.
Why, Broderick.
You know this lush, Granny?
Oh, why, that's my son, Broderick.
No, she's Martian.
He's in pretty bad shape. You better get him to bed.
Oh, dear, and he was doing so well at the Alcoholic Society. He must have gotten off again.
Looks like he's ready to pass out.
Lauren!
What is it, Mother? Oh,
Your brother Broderick has been drinking again.
No, officer, please.
Look out. He's passed out.
Oh, I'll take care of him, officer. We've handled this sort of thing before.
Can you manage okay?
We'll be fine. Thank you.
Oh, you've been very kind, officer.
Nothing at all, Granny. I know how it is with these alkies. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Martian Embassy. Martian. Oh, my head.
Our Mr. Broderick is regaining consciousness, Mother.
What? What happened? I can't get up. No.
Do not struggle, Mr. Broderick. It will be impossible for you to rise from that chair. The pressure from this ray will keep you there.
Ray? Who are you?
Well, you've already guessed, Mr. Broderick.
You mean this really is the
Martian Embassy? Yes. Yes, you have the honor to be the first prisoner of the Imperial Government of Mars.
First prisoner?
Yes. After the invasion, of course, you will all be our prisoners.
What sort of nonsense is this?
No nonsense, Mr. Broderick. As your people will soon find out. Our preparations for invasion are nearly completed now. As soon as we give the signal, our armed forces will launch a surprise attack. And then the Earth will be ours.
Crazy.
Oh, not half as mad as you, Mr. Broderick, to come muddling so foolishly into our affairs. It was a mistake, Mr. Broderick. A fatal mistake.
So Doolan's death was no accident, then, huh?
Oh, assuredly not. We found it necessary to use a pressure ray on your friend. The block of concrete was an afterthought. We thought it might help to divert suspicion.
All right. So what happens now?
If you cooperate, you can look forward to a quick, painless death. Like your friend, Mr. Doolan.
If not?
Well, this pressure ray has many delicate adjustments. It can move a pin, or it can crush a boulder. Let me demonstrate. Oh! You see, Mr. Broderick, as if an invisible vice were crushing you.
What do you want?
The name of your client. We are interested in knowing who is so anxious to locate the Martian embassy.
The names of my clients are confidential.
Well?
All right. All right.
Turn it off, Mother. Mr. Broderick has seen the wisdom of speech.
His name is Graphius.
Graphius?
Yes.
An unusual name for an Earthman.
Describe him.
Well, I don't think I really can.
Describe him.
He's tall. With a big forehead. He's about 60. Wears thick glasses. He's bald.
Lauren, it sounds like one of them.
Yes. Yes, it does. Contact the planet. Tell them we suspect that our plans are known. Ask for an acceleration of the invasion day.
At once.
What about me?
Oh, I am sorry, Mr. Broderick. But I'm afraid you know too much now. In exactly 5 seconds, you will feel the full impact of the ray which faces you. I would suggest that you relax and meet your fate calmly.
But now, wait a minute.
You will feel no pain, just a wall of force crushing you.
Yes, but listen.
5.
But you can't do this.
4.
This isn't human.
Yes, I know we're not human. 3.
Yes, but do you understand?
2.
No.
1.
Mother in heaven.
Now.
Lauren!
It didn't work. Something has happened. The magnetic field is dead.
Stand back from the pressure ray, please. It will not function anyway. I have decontrolled your field.
Lauren! Lauren is one of them. They found us.
Did you think we wouldn't? You are free to move now, Mr. Brown.
Look, I don't know how you got in here, Graphius, but stick around. These babies are really Martians, just like you said. They're planning to invade the Earth and take over.
There will be no invasion.
All right, you keep these characters covered. I'll get the police.
There will be no need for the police. I intend to handle them myself.
But, Graphius, the police will want
Do not call the police.
I don't get it.
You fool of an Earthling. Don't you realize with whom you are dealing? The invasion of Earth by Mars will be like child's play compared with what...
Lauren! Oh!
Holy mackerel. They just flattened out.
Yeah, like your friend, Mr. Doolan. Oh, I detest the use of violence where the intellect can rule. But unfortunately, the Martians are a threat to us and must be destroyed so that we can proceed with our own plans.
What plans?
Naturally, you wouldn't comprehend.
Wait a minute. There are some things here that I do understand. A second ago, that pressure ray didn't work. Now you're using it like it was a toy. How did you get in here, anyway? Who are you? Another one of these Martians?
No, Mr. Broderick. I happen to be a Venusian.
A what?
A representative of the planet of Venus.
You're crazy.
Not at all. Martian invasion would be like child's play compared to ours. The Martians would simply have conquered and enslaved your people. We Venusians intend to exterminate you completely.
Then I suppose that you were going to start by knocking me off.
On the contrary, you are free to leave any time you please.
Leave?
Yes.
Are you kidding? I know your plans, the invasion. I could go...
Tell the police? Go ahead. Huh? Why don't you try it, Broderick?
Because the minute I turn my back, you're going to let me have it.
Suppose you try it and see. I have no interest in stopping you. Go ahead. Run to the police. Tell them anything you like.
All right, Buster, you asked for this. Alive. You let me go.
Here. Where do you think you're running to?
Officer, listen to me.
Oh, it's you again. The one with the Martians.
Listen, that story is true. You've got to believe me. You've absolutely got to believe me. They're inside that house, inside number 108. He killed them.
Who killed him?
Graphius, the leader of the Venusian invasion.
Venusian invasion.
Look, they're going to take over the Earth. Listen to me. Go in that house.
Martians, now Venusians. Okay, brother, I've heard enough. Your bet is a bedbug. Come along.
Please, where are you taking me?
Bellevue Psychiatric Ward, my friend. Come on.
No, but you...
Come along.
You don't understand. Why are you such a fool? Let go of me. There's going to be an invasion. The Venusians are going to invade us. Why don't you listen to me? Why don't you listen?
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Embassy by Donald A. Wollheim, adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were John Larkin, Theo Getz, Bill Zuckert, Audrey Blum, Virginia Payne, Clark Gordon, Jack Orison, and Reese Taylor. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Dan Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Captain Tex Bradford and Jerry Hall are certainly in an exciting spot now. Two of the Euclidean scientists, Cheops, the master builder, and Thales, the chief electrician of the underwater city, have taken Jerry and Tex for a test run in one of the rocket-propelled airships of the Euclideans. All has been going very smoothly, with nothing worse than amazement happening to our friends. But now, a new note has crept into the proceedings. There is a disturbance on the radiograph. Someone is on their course. The beam signal from Euclidia is not interrupted. Therefore, another aircraft of some type must be in the air, ahead of them and above them. But that's impossible. Their delicate instruments don't register the presence of any other plane. Let's see what the scientists can do about this.
Oh, gee, what are you going to do about it?
There seems little to do at the moment.
But if someone is on this course, isn't there danger of our running into them?
There is the pleasant possibility of our doing that.
Pleasant possibility? Running into another airship 40,000 feet in the air and going 800 miles an hour?
Captain Bradford.
Yes?
Is there any type of aircraft in your world which might be cruising at an altitude of 40,000 feet over this location in the South Pacific Ocean?
Not a chance.
We will continue to climb steadily.
Don't forget Chief 47's orders. He said not to go over 50,000 feet and not to get more than 100 miles from the position of Euclidia.
We do not require your assistance, Hall. The orders were clear to us.
Jerry was only thinking about making G-47 angry. He's bad enough at any time.
Silence. The radio beam is fading out.
It's going now. What does that mean?
I am not sure.
Oh, boy. Did you hear that, Tex? There's something that one of these Euclideans is not sure about.
This is indeed most unusual.
Well, do we just sit here and comment on it while we race along towards danger at 1,000 miles an hour?
You will be so good as to remember that our course lies in a circle over the undersea city of Euclidia. If this obstacle remains on our course, it can mean but one thing. Another aircraft of some strange type is also on the same course, describing the same circle.
You mean somebody's chasing us?
Or we're chasing them?
Something of that nature.
Thales, you will conserve your power. Prepare to stabilize this plane with the helium escape valves and check our position.
Right?
Seems to be something going on here, Jerry.
It sure looks like it.
Every instrument on board this plane is distorted.
Your proof?
Look downward.
Yeah. Look, Tex. There's the ocean.
Sure is, Jerry. We're only a few thousand feet above it.
I cannot understand this.
Well, how do we get home?
I will attempt to communicate with Euclidia. Straighter plane X1 to Euclidia. Requesting bearings. Straighter plane X1 to Euclidia. Check our beam and give us our position.
Oh, boy. We're lost.
We are very definitely lost. Our instruments have all failed. Our altimeter shows 43,000 feet. We are actually about 4,300 feet above the water.
Well, this seems like a good time for a little simple navigation with the sun.
That would be the answer indeed, if it were not for the fact that we have no idea as to where Euclidia lies in relation to our present position.
But we can't be over 100 miles from it.
We should not be over 100 miles from Euclidia. We may be near 500.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. If our instruments are all wrong, we may not have been describing a circle at all.
Oh, but Tex, we only have fuel enough for 500 miles. If we're going 400 miles in a straight line, how do we get home?
Looks like we may have to walk.
That will hardly be necessary, but we would have to ask for aid from the city.
Huh. I'll bet G47 would like that.
G47 would find a number of ways to make life most unpleasant for us if such were the case.
Yes, and he's good at that.
Commander S1, waiting your report. You will proceed, Thales.
Gee, the girl commander on Euclidia.
You will make the report, Thales.
Straighter plane reporting to Commander S1. All instruments paralyzed. Request check beam and give our position.
Your beam is being checked. Your course is number 1 west from Euclidia.
Due west of Euclidia.
We have fuel for 100 miles.
What power are you using on your voice transmitter?
25 watts.
Your graph is being calibrated. Here is the result. Your command lies approximately 125 miles from Euclidia.
What are G47's instructions?
You will proceed at full speed toward Euclidia. Maintain your present altitude. Report when fuel exhausted. When you complete that report, you will descend and submerge at once. Aid will be dispatched at this time. Lay your course due east. That is all.
One moment, Commander. We have no compass. Everything on the control panel is useless.
If you do not know how to navigate a true course in broad daylight with the sun shining brightly, perhaps Captain Bradford will assist you. That is all.
Oh, boy. Did that girl commander tell you that time?
Careful, Jerry.
You will learn to hold your tongue, young man. Keops, full speed forward. Due east. Run to the exhaustion of our fuel.
Full speed. Due east. Very well.
I'll be glad to help you navigate if you want me to, Thales.
I could easily request a radio beam from Euclidia if it were necessary.
Well, if you can't tell which direction is east, I'd say it was kind of necessary right now.
Silence.
Sorry.
Our course is now due east. We are accelerating rapidly.
Very well. Continue so.
What happens when we run out of fuel?
We will take advantage of our altitude to progress as far as possible along our course, then settle to the surface and submerge.
Yeah, and wait there for G47 to come out and give us plenty of trouble.
I think G47 will have other things to think about. That girl submarine commander will require his attention for her impertinence to me.
G47 may not look at it that way. We have found that girl commander most intelligent.
You have also found her most helpful on occasion, have you not?
What?
Gee, do you suppose G47 suspects?
Watch it, Jerry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yes, my foolish young man. G47 not only suspects, he knows.
Knows what?
That the girl in question, the finest and most trusted submarine commander in our colony, deliberately aided your party in your 2 escapes from the island.
You mean G47
Hey, Tex, don't let these fellows kid you. That girl didn't help us a bit. That's just imagination.
Yes?
Yes, there's a mistake somewhere.
There is indeed, but that mistake will be rectified upon our return to Euclidia.
But don't you do anything to get that girl in bed. She's a friend of ours.
Just as I thought.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Tex.
Never mind, Jerry. I don't think we could tell these men anything they don't know already.
That is your most intelligent observation to date, Captain.
Well, I suggest you stop worrying us and give your attention to getting this crippled ship home.
While you are making suggestions, you might offer one as to the cause of this condition. You are here at the request of G47, who, for some reason, believed you might prove valuable in such a predicament as this.
If you want my advice, you can have it.
We will listen.
Well, in the first place, are these ships comparatively new? By that I mean, how many long cruises have you made in them under various conditions?
These planes have been out rarely. There is no necessity of running exhaustive tests on anything of Euclidean invention. Our machines are perfect.
Yeah, like the way this ship is acting today.
This was unavoidable.
Nothing is unavoidable. G47 is the author of that remark. I think you'll find that your tempered copper is much too fine a conductor to be highly successful as a material used throughout this ship. Instruments will all react to magnetism under certain conditions, and even the cases containing these instruments are of copper.
That will substantiate a claim I made at the time Thales insisted that my tempered copper was the material for this work. I disagreed with him.
The copper has nothing to do with this condition, related to it in no possible... Oh, yes, that could be... Those fins, they are copper with a steel core.
And nearly anything wrapped around a steel core would make a fine magnet in a ship full of electricity.
Well, I'll bet that's it. The instruments were all right when we were on the water, and those wings were folded back into the sides of the ship.
If that were the case, how do you account for the fact that numerous trips have been made in ships such as this one, and the instruments worked perfectly?
Well, I can't explain that yet, but give me time to take one of these things to pieces when we get back to Euclidean, and I'll find out where the weak points are.
Commander S1 to rocket plane. S1 calling Thales in straight-up plane.
Silence. Thales to Commander S1. Ready.
You will continue to transmit continuously. Your graph will be run and your position corrected.
Position is correct as last given. On course 1 east to Euclidia.
You are not on course 1 east. Directional prism reflectors fail to locate you. Continue transmitting.
Very well. We are proceeding at full speed along a course believed to be due east to Euclidia. Altitude about 4,000 feet. Fuel for approximately 50 miles. Is there any further information I can give you?
You may cease transmission. Your graph has been calibrated. You are 7 degrees off your course.
Impossible.
You are 7 degrees north of your course. You will make this correction immediately.
Very well.
Proceed along course. Notify me immediately when fuel exhausted. I am leaving at once. That is all.
Hey, that girl is coming out after us with her submarine.
Obviously so.
This is getting to be a habit. It'll make the third time she's dragged us to the island.
It will be a comparatively simple task on this occasion. We should reach the surface of the water within 25 miles of Euclidia.
If that sound has any significance, your latest observation is faulty, Thales.
Yes, that was bad. We are losing headway. We must take advantage of this altitude and glide down.
What was that noise?
The last of the gas leaving the fuel chambers. We are without fuel.
And we're a lot more than 25 miles from Euclidia.
Only less than 75 miles.
Hey, we're going down mighty fast. How can you land this thing without power?
Right, Jerry. We haven't enough wing surface for a glide. This thing's dropping like a bullet.
I will now compensate for that.
Oh, boy. Did we bounce that time? Hey, what did we hit?
That sudden jar was caused by the release of the helium cylinders. The outer shell of this plane is now expanding.
Expanding?
Precisely.
You mean that you release compressed helium into the outer shell, and it is pliable enough to expand and carry our weight as the lightest in an airship?
Precisely.
Well, it's a good trick if it works, but it looks to me like we're starting down again, and mighty fast, too.
What? Yes, we are falling again. I will release the reserve supply of helium.
Hey, you have to do that so rough?
It's better to flatten out up here than it is to hit the water at the speed we were making.
We are gaining speed again. We are not being supported.
Yes, something vital has failed.
You mean we're falling? You can't stop us?
Steady, Jerry. What's to be done, Thales?
I have exhausted every means at my command.
How about you, Cheops?
There is nothing more to be done.
What will be our speed when we hit that water?
The least we may hope for is a speed of 75 miles an hour.
75 miles an hour? But, hey, We can't land that fast. We're going pretty near straight down. Well, that's going to smash the ship to pieces.
Right it will, Jerry. This is once the Euclidean perfection has failed, and failed plenty.
One of the Euclidean rocket planes is hurtling down out of the sky. With Captain Bradford and Jerry Hall on board, two of the Euclidean scientists, Cheops and Thales, have made a test run in a rocket plane. Some flaw in the instruments has caused them to run beyond their fuel limits. And in trying to return to Euclidia, the fuel supply has failed them completely. They are within 75 miles of the underwater city, and help from Euclidia will reach them quickly. But all of this may do them very little good. The plane is diving for the water at a speed of over 50 miles an hour, and the helium gas supply, which was to have inflated the shell of the strange craft and allow them to settle gently to the sea, has proven inadequate. Only 1,000 feet separates the falling plane from the water.
We're going to hit.
I can do nothing.
Here, give me the controls.
What can you do?
Give me the controls. Everybody keep quiet and hang on.
What are you going to do, Tex?
I'm not sure, kid, but I think I can do it. Now, hang on. Well, we're down.
I'll say we're down. And we're floating on the water just as nice as you please. How did you do it, Tex?
Just flew this thing down, that's all.
That is one of the most remarkable demonstrations it has been my experience to witness.
Phenomenal.
All you have to know is a little about flying. Perhaps you gentlemen would do well to take a few lessons.
Your rebuke is well deserved.
Yeah, serves you right, too. But how did you do it, Tex?
Just took a chance and it came out right. After all, Jerry, the secret in good flying is the men, not their instruments. I saw that those dinky little wings weren't going to hold us up at the rate we were going, so I folded them back in, shot straight down, and then checked our course by shooting the wings out again, using full elevators at the same time.
You sure checked our course all right. I felt like I was going through the bottom of the sea.
That was preferable to going through the floor of the ocean.
And how it was.
You may not realize it, Captain Bradford, but you have placed yourself in a very enviable position.
Old G47 will give me a tin medal for this, I suppose.
His expression will be more practical. You will undoubtedly find yourself given a place of honor among the scientists of Euclidia.
Oh, the captain doesn't want to be a Euclidean.
Don't be too sure of that, Jerry. As long as we're going to spend a long time in Euclidia, it might be more comfortable to spend it as a Euclidean.
Well, let's quit arguing about what we're going to be and tell somebody in Euclidia that we're sitting out here in the water.
Good idea, Jerry. We haven't any motive power?
None. Our gas is exhausted. I will report. Cheops to Euclidia. Straighter plane to central control. Waiting.
Gee, it's going to be nice if they've forgotten all about us out here.
That is impossible.
Yeah? Well, you said it was impossible for this plane to go wrong, too. But it sure did just the same.
I think they're waiting for a signal from us.
They are slow in answering. I will continue asking for a signal. Cheops to Euclidean control station. Cheops calling central control station. Straighter plane is down. Helpless on water. Answer at once. Cheops to Euclidean
This is indeed interesting, Commander. You are very fortunate, Cleostra. G47 is in high good humor when he allows anyone in this communication chamber.
It has been a long time since we heard from the plane. Do you suppose Jerry and Captain Bradford are all right?
Supposition is of little value in any case. We may assume that they are in no danger.
But if they are running out of fuel?
When they report again, we will start out to locate them and tow them in.
We? Then I am going with you.
You have G47's permission to accompany me at any time. If your mother has no objection, I will take you on this trip.
Cheops, calling Central Control Station. Cheops, calling Central Control Station.
Silence, Cleostra. Cheops is calling.
Cheops, calling Euclidia. Straighter plane is down. Helpless on water. Unable to submerge. Answer at once.
Oh, Commander, they are down. And Cheops says they are helpless.
Silence. Commander S1 to straighter plane. Leaving at once with submarine. We'll run on surface if possible. Keep me informed your position. That is all.
Something must have gone wrong with the plane.
That is not likely. Euclidean machines are perfect.
You may be right, but I am very worried about them.
We will start at once, using this large submarine with heavy stern towing fins.
follow me into the central control section. You may occupy the seat on my left. Hurry. We will use the lock which admits us to the water at this depth. The pressure will aid in getting maximum speed quickly.
Commander, what is that frightful noise?
We are sliding down the ramp into the lock. The submarine is being propelled by magnets beneath the floor of the ramp.
This is one of the regular submarines, is it not, Commander?
Yes. Another straighter plane would save little time on such a short run and would be almost useless for towing the other vessel.
We are now in the lock.
In a few seconds, the lock will be filled. Then we may go.
You do not feel at all alarmed over the position of the captain and Jerry? Yet they are helpless on the surface of the water.
Alarm would not aid them. We must not rush to conclusions as to their condition. We will arrive at their position in approximately 3,600 seconds. I will now leave the lock. Brace yourself firmly. Our speed will be very great.
We are rising at a terrifying rate.
The 400 feet to the surface should take us not more than 15 seconds.
What will happen when we burst out of the water at this speed?
We will not burst out, as you term it. I shall now level off gradually.
Oh, Commander, we are out of the water. We are on the surface and running smoothly.
Precisely. That should not surprise you. Did you not steal one of these submarines and take your mother, Jerry Hall, and the captain safely to Los Angeles?
To be sure. But I could never operate this as you do. You are very clever, Commander.
Naturally. I earned my place as the foremost commander on Euclidia. Now we will continue on this course. That plane will be drifting slightly, and Cheops was very indefinite as to their exact position. But I think we may safely run full speed ahead for some time.
What is our speed now?
You may observe the instrument.
Thank you. Oh, 75 miles per hour. This is the maximum speed of this vessel, is it not?
It is. And a speed that is not advisable except in an emergency.
Oh, I am so worried about the captain and Jerry.
You are very fond of that silly young man, are you not?
I am, and he is not silly.
Very well. I wish to tell you something, Joan.
Joan? Why, Commander, you called me Joan.
Precisely. You prefer that to Cleostra, do you not?
Why, yes. Of course I do, but you...
Do not interrupt me. We have only a short time, and I have much to tell you.
I will be happy to listen.
G47 knows that I assisted you in your 2 attempts to escape from the island.
He knows.
Positively?
But if he knows that, he will punish you terribly.
My punishment has been prescribed. It will take the effect the moment we return from this rescue expedition.
What is the punishment to be?
I am to be stripped of my authority, robbed of my place as a Euclidean, and sent to join your party, where I will live under the same conditions as now govern you.
Our party? You mean that you will be considered as we are? Virtually prisoners? Potential enemies of Euclidia?
Precisely. I will have quarters adjoining yours. From this time forth, my lot is cast with yours.
Why, Commander, that is wonderful.
Wonderful?
Why, of course, is it not?
I am not sure.
Oh, but it will be wonderful. You will like our way of living, and then you can have lovely clothes and stop wearing that Euclidean cloth uniform.
I wonder how it will feel to live as you do.
Oh, you will be happy with us. Mother will let you have one of her dresses to wear. Oh, I am so excited. There is so much I want to tell you about Mother's world. I hardly know where to start.
Silence. Our conversation must be postponed.
Is something wrong?
Do not become excited. I will find out.
How can you tell who it is if the signal is too weak?
I will use a magnetic beam and attempt to relay the impulses to our equipment.
Cheops, calling Euclidean Control Station. Cheops to Euclidia. Straighter plane to Central Control. Emergent. Answer at once. Emergent. Cheops calling Euclidia.
Jerry and the captain, they are in trouble.
Silence, Cleostra. I will attend to this. Commander S1, Euclidean Patrol Submarine number 1. Getting your signal very faintly, Cheops. Proceed. Hurry. Waiting.
Our plane was damaged in landing. We are filling up with water. No compressed air. No gas. Preparing to leave ship. Bulkheads gas exhausted. We will have to swim without aid. The batteries are underwater. Radio will start soon.
Break. Orders. Abandon ship immediately. Give us your exact position. We are proceeding at full speed along course 1 west from Euclidia. Your position.
Position. Vance given his best. Advise. Water. Batteries. Hurry.
Commander, their radio stopped.
Yes. The vessel is flooded.
And we do not even know their exact position.
True. And without the ship, it will be almost difficult to reach them in the water.
I know that. If the water is the least bit rough, it is nearly impossible to see a swimmer in it.
Are the captain and young Hall good swimmers?
Very good. The captain has been a champion swimmer, and Jerry swims strongly and easily.
They will need all their skill. Neither Thales nor Cheops can swim.
They cannot swim.
Precisely. Very few Euclideans are able to swim. The perfection of Euclidean boats has made swimming unnecessary.
Then hurry, Commander, hurry.
I am driving this boat beyond the safety factor at this moment.
Well, if we save those men, you may thank Jerry and the captain for it. And remember that in our world we do not depend on machines.
You speak freely of your world for one who knows so little of it, Cleopatra.
I may know little of it, but anything known of the outside world is better than everything the Euclideans know.
I am beginning to believe you. I await my entry into your life with pleasure. But first, we have a mission to perform.
Sometimes it's fun to try to pitch yourself against a puzzle. Try considering tonight's story as a puzzle. It's a story about a monster. That's a familiar theme in science fiction and fantasy. But tonight's story deals with an impossible monster. See if you understand enough of the relationship of living things to figure out why this monster is impossible. When men go out into space, sooner or later in their explorations, they're going to meet somewhere, on some world, something that's mighty darn dangerous. And the real danger is that it might be brought home unknowingly. That's a kind of unpleasant thought at times. I wonder how deadly, how disastrous a thing might be brought home.
It's past 10. Which one is this brother of yours getting here? Midnight?
Oh, Dave, don't start getting upset about it. Send him to mate. Don't forget it's 5 years since he was last on Earth.
5 years or no 5 years. The ship landed 7:30. It doesn't take 3 hours to get here from the spaceport.
Well, maybe there's some routine he had to go through before he could leave the customs. I understand there's a comprehensive medical examination for all returning from outer space.
That's all we need. Some weird disease he picked up on Alpha Centauri 5.
Oh, no, they wouldn't let him near civilians if he had any such diseases.
Well, all I can say is that if he doesn't show his face here by 11, I'm going to go upstairs and go to bed. I need my sleep.
Oh, there he is now, Dave. Oh, I knew he'd be here on time. That'd be nice to him, Dave. He is my brother, after all, and I haven't seen him since 89.
Okay, I'll be polite. I'll go let him in. Hello there. Come on, right on in. My name is Dave Sporley.
Thanks. I appreciate this, Dave.
Oh, Ted. Oh, Ted.
Hello, sis. Well, stand back and let me look at you. This is a big girl now, isn't she?
Well, I'm almost 24. I married Dave 3 years ago.
Well, you haven't changed much in 5 years? Same red hair, that dimple, freckles on your nose?
Was there much red tape before you could leave customs?
Just a medical exam. They gave me a quick look to make sure I wasn't carrying the plague. I was cleared through around 8:15.
Oh, you must have stopped off for a little nip before coming here then, huh?
No, I came straight here from the spaceport.
Oh, but it only takes half an hour by rocket tube.
No one said anything to me about a rocket tube. I took the subway.
The subway? Oh, really? Now the subway all the way out here? No wonder it took you so long.
Say, the rocket tube's only been in operation for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
That's why Ted didn't use it.
Yeah.
He didn't know it existed.
The world changes more than you think in 5 years.
the new model autos that drive themselves, 3D video, the robots. Those things were all new when I last was on Earth. Now they're commonplace to everyone except me.
Come on into the living room. You'll probably want to rest up. I'll give you a drink, put a little music on.
And you can tell us all about your 5 years in space.
Red enough. You miss him out in space.
Hey, can I dial you a drink?
Scotch, thanks. I'll take it neat.
Oh, same old Ted. Still likes the same music and still drinks the same kind of drink.
It's only been 5 years. I haven't been away forever.
Can you tell us where you've been? Or is that classified?
Well, some of it is. But I covered a lot of ground. You ought to see the night sky on Deneb 9, Marge. 500 little moons up there like whirling knives in the darkness. And the 17th planet of the Vega system, 2 billion miles from its sun, and yet there's that great blazing light in the sky, so bright that we had to wear special eye lenses.
Join the Space Force and see the galaxy. It's really true, then.
It was good of both of you to offer to put me up while I'm on ground leave. No treat to be in a world where you have no friends and only one living relative.
Oh, don't mention it, Ted. How long did you say that you were staying?
3 weeks. That's all right with you.
And then you go back to space for another 5 years?
That's right. Survey trip this time. Around the galactic rim.
How exciting that must be.
Just his job, after all, Marge.
But how much more exciting it must be to be a spaceman than a newspaper man.
You a newspaper man, Dave?
I work for one of the system-wide news services.
That's a job that keeps humming all the time. We spacemen spend 3/4 of our time drifting through nowhere between planets, playing solitaire, watching old films, and thinking about Earth.
Yes, but when the waiting's over, when you finally reach another sun and walk on alien soil.
Yes, then it becomes worthwhile. Well, you must excuse me. I've had a busy day. Aboard ship and then getting out here.
Of course. If you'd like me to show you up to the room, why...
I appreciate that. Gee, this house is so full of new gadgets that I hardly know what anything does. This thing over here...
Watch out, don't! Ted, your arm!
My arm's all right, Marge.
Look, that was the raw disposal unit. Anything you put in there gets converted into energy.
Oh, but look, I put my arm back in time, see?
Yeah, but we heard the sound. When you activate the unit, it crackles like that.
And I saw your hand in there up to the wrist.
You're both imagining things. All I did was toss a piece of candy in to see what would happen. My hand didn't come anywhere near it.
But I saw your hand go in, Ted. And the disposal field crackled. And yet your hand's all right. I don't understand it.
I tell you, my hand didn't come anywhere near it, Marge. Dave, would you show me to my room? I'm pretty worn out.
But I saw his hand go in. I saw it.
Living organism, anywhere, is to be able to meet its environment, to survive, to handle the situations it encounters, handle them at least well enough to maintain its own existence as a species. It's not so obvious that you can overdo that, but you know you can.
He's all moved in upstairs to the guest room. Seems pleased with the layout. Well, suppose we turn in now, huh? It's past 11, isn't it?
Dave, I'm worried.
About what? That business about the disposal unit? Oh, it must have been our imagination.
No, I saw him clearly put his hand into that field. But when he took it out again, his hand was whole. And there are other things.
Like what?
He's different somehow, Dave.
Different? Well, sure he's different. 5 years.
No, it's not just the 5 years. His voice isn't quite the same anymore. Something weird about the way he speaks now. And his eyes, they have a far-away look. Which was never like that before. Dave, he's changed. And I'm afraid of him now.
You're afraid of your own brother?
I'm afraid that he isn't my own brother anymore.
Oh,
Dave, I don't know what I'm saying, I guess, but... Well, I do feel strange about his being upstairs. As if something dangerous had entered our house.
What should I do about it? Go upstairs and ask him if he's a monster in disguise? Well, Marge, he's your brother, and you invited him here.
No, but I'm worried.
And what am I supposed to do about it? Really, believe me, it's all in your imagination.
Dave, didn't you see him stick his hand into that disposal?
No, I didn't.
But you said if you're just making that up, you saw it as clear as I did.
What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go upstairs and ask him to leave? He can spend his furlough in some hotel.
No, of course we can't do that.
Well, then leave me alone.
But would you do one thing for me?
What is it?
Go upstairs to his room. He probably isn't asleep yet, but maybe he's getting undressed. And try to get a look at him. My brother had a scar on his chest about 5 inches long, starting from his left collarbone and running down diagonally. He got it when we were kids. And see if the man upstairs has that scar, too.
Look, Marge, you said that he liked the same drinks and the same music he always did, so why...
Why did you go upstairs and look? You could tell him you just stopped in to see if he was comfortable.
This is ridiculous, Marge. Spying on your own brother to see if he's a thing from outer space.
I'll feel happier if you go up. Oh, won't you, Dave?
All right. If it'll stop you from worrying, I'll go see if he's awake. I saw your light was still on, Ted, so I figured I'd stop there.
Why do you enter my room without knocking?
Wait. Your face is...
My face is different?
What? You look like me now. My face, that is, not yours.
I'm simply practicing.
Practicing?
Oh, don't go away. Come here, Dave.
What are you?
I'm your brother-in-law, Dave.
And your face. And your hand.
Didn't Marge tell you that I had such abilities?
No, of course not.
I guess she didn't know. I couldn't do things like this before I visited Altair 6 2 years ago. Altair has a very interesting form of native life. At the moment, nobody knows of the existence of this life form but me. It's a mimic.
Mimic?
When a spaceman known as Ted Kennedy was exploring Altair 6 2 years ago, he wandered off alone to look for wildlife. There was a big brown stone in his way. He kicked it, but the stone clung to his boot. It wasn't a stone, you see. It was a mimic.
I don't know what you're talking about. Get out of my way and let me out of this room. You must be out of your mind.
Ted Kennedy never knew what happened to him. Within 10 seconds, the mimic had absorbed him, swallowed him up. Flesh, brain, memories and all. When the mimic had fed, it realized what a lucky find it had made. A spaceman who would be going back to Earth someday. The mimic can divide itself infinitely. It left part of itself there in its old disguise of a stone. The rest of it went back to the spaceship disguised as Ted Kennedy.
Marge said you were different, that something had happened to you.
I have all of Ted Kennedy's memories. As far as anyone can tell, I am Ted Kennedy. Right down to the last molecule. And my crew members who were all absorbed by the mimic and who are on leave now.
Oh, a whole ship of you spreading all over the Earth.
Exactly. Come here, Dave.
No, let go of me.
Don't try to resist. Just take seconds.
Boy!
Just a moment more. Then it'll be over. There. Finished.
Wonder how they'd make out, they and their progeny. My, they sure could live high, couldn't they?
Dave, you were gone a long time. I was getting worried.
He wasn't undressed yet. I had to wait to see the scar.
Oh, he had it then, did he?
Of course. Big purple slash across his chest when he got cut the time he tried to climb that picket fence.
You mean he told you how he got that scar then?
What? Oh, yeah. He told me all about it, how you and he were stealing apples years ago and how the farmer came to chase you. He jumped over the fence, but he cut himself going over, and you were stuck in the orchard because you couldn't get over the fence.
And he told you that?
Yes.
He never told anyone that story. He was so ashamed that he left his kid sister behind him and tried to get away. And he made me swear that I'd never tell anyone about it.
Well, he told me.
I guess 5 years does change a man. Well, it's almost midnight now. You'll be dead in the morning if you don't get some sleep, Dave. Come on, let's turn in.
Just a minute, Marge.
Dave, why are you looking at me that way?
Here.
I am here.
No, closer. Let me hold you in my arms.
Oh, why so lovey-dovey here in the living room, Dave? Dave, you look so strange.
Let me hold you.
Dave, your eyes, you look different. What's wrong with you? What happened to you upstairs? What's going on in this house?
Let me hold you, Marge.
Let go of me. You're holding me too tight, Dave.
Just a moment, Marge, and then you'll be one of us.
Dave, what are you doing to me? Dave, I don't understand it. You're hurting me.
Only a moment more to full absorption, then you'll be part of it, like you and me and Ted, and soon the whole world.
Dave, no!
Marge. That's all there is to it, see? A few moments while our organism absorbs yours, then a split, and a new Marge falling in pieces.
It's odd. I remember everything I did as Marge, clear and sharp. Only now I'm you too, Dave. And Ted. And all the members of Ted's ship crew.
And soon, everyone in the world, all merged into us.
I see it's all over. I waited until you had converted it.
Yeah, we better sleep now, build up our energy, and every time tomorrow we get someone alone...
We convert him into us.
Simple. Quick. All this food waiting for us on this planet. Billions of human beings. All ours. Answer it.
Why, it's Mr. Adams from next door.
Hello there, Mr. Spaulding. I know it's late at night, and I hope I'm not intruding, but I was just coming home from the movies, and as I passed by outside, it sort of seemed to me that I heard screams coming from in here.
Yes, that's right. It was my wife screaming.
Mrs. Spaulding? But you seem so calm. I mean, well, I guess everything's under control.
Yes, everything is under control.
Yes, well, if that's the case, I guess I'll be going on along home then. I'm sorry to have bothered you. I just thought maybe you might be needing some help.
We appreciate that very much, Mr. Adams. Won't you step in for a moment?
Well, it's quite late, and as you say, everything's under control.
All the same, if you'd come inside.
Yes, do come in. I'll fix you a little nightcap.
Well, just for a moment. I've always believed in being neighborly. I guess I'll come in if you're nice enough to ask me.
We're glad to have you, Mr. Adams. There, don't stand in the hall. Come in. Close the door.
Well, it's nice of you to ask me in, Mrs. Spaulding. Yes, sir. It's right nice of you to invite me in.
Tigers on that island with 1 million sheep. They'd starve to death, of course. They'd eat all the sheep. Then there'd be nothing to eat but tigers. They aren't good eating, I understand, even for a tiger. What do you think would happen to a monster on any planet, which is just an island in space, that became so successful that nothing could fight it? It'd starve to death, of course. That's an impossible kind of monster. There never could be such a monster as is discussed in this story.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman,
strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, then steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. When Nancy Harmon and young Jimmy Olsen seemingly vanished into thin air, Kent, as Superman, found them in a cabin deep in the woods, some miles from the Bartlett logging camp, of which Nancy's father, Fred Harmon, is boss. They appeared to be under the sleep-producing influence of a drug. Rushing them back to the camp, Kent had Bill Dawson, Harmon's right-hand man, send to Montville, the nearest town, for Father Malone, a Northwoods priest who, because of the lack of a physician, ministers to the body as well as the soul. It is midnight in the logging camp office. Nancy and Jimmy, although still under the influence of the sleeping potion, seem to be in no danger. Fred Harmon, exhausted by the ordeal, has gone to bed. Kent and Father Malone, a tall, broad-shouldered man with warm gray eyes and a ready smile, are seated before the fire.
Well, now, let's see. I've been up in this section of the woods close to 12 years, Mr. Kent.
That's a long time, Father Malone.
Oh, not so long. Time passes quickly when there are things to do. Yes, 12 years. My first parish was at St. Clair. That's 10 miles north of Montville.
Oh?
I had 7 worshippers, and 5 of them didn't understand a word of English, and I didn't speak a word of French. But we got along famously. The moment those Canucks discovered I could handle a rifle, we were friends.
Don't you ever want to go back to a big city?
No, I don't think I'd like it. People are so much more human up here.
Mm-hmm.
They learn to depend on themselves, and they learn to develop faith in themselves and in Providence.
Where did you learn medicine, Father?
Books, and a few lessons from Dr. Warren at Hart's Landing.
Oh.
Of course, I never tamper with anything that looks serious, just odds and ends.
Well, you're quite sure Jimmy and Miss Harmon will be all right?
Positive. Pulse and respiration are normal. Your diagnosis, I think, was quite correct. Some sort of a sleeping potion. Now, tell me exactly what happened.
Well, apparently, Father, it's the White Plague legend again.
Hey?
Yes, it seems 2 loggers died very mysteriously a few days ago, and then a third came staggering in out of a blizzard last night and passed away almost in my arms. Then, early today, a 4th man collapsed. Dawson said he'd been struck by a rattler.
Oh, no, that's nonsense. Snakes hibernate during the winter. Anything else happened?
Yes. Early this afternoon, Jimmy and I were riding back to camp in a horse-drawn sled when someone shot at us from the woods. Shot to kill.
I've been waiting for something like that.
So?
This White Plague legend has been haunting me, Kent, ever since I started working among lumberjacks. Like any legend, it passes from mouth to mouth, and the miracles created by it are manifold. But sooner or later, we discover the legend is being put to good or bad use by some misguided human. So you were shot at, eh?
Yes. Fortunately, neither Jimmy nor I were hit. We got back to camp, and while Mr. Harmon and I were discussing the series of curious accidents, Jimmy and Miss Harmon went out to look at some young raccoons penned up near a shed.
Yes, Dawson mentioned that incident to me.
Oh?
How you followed their footprints in the snow, and they suddenly stopped.
That's right. Did he tell you about the big white bird?
Oh, I know. What was that?
Well, while Dawson and I were searching for Jimmy and Nancy, we heard 2 rifle shots. We ran back and found that Mr. Harmon had fired at what he claimed was a giant bird. A bird he was certain had carried Nancy and Jimmy off. We found one of the feathers on the snow. As a matter of fact, here it is on the mantel here.
Let me see it.
There.
This is very, very curious. Do you know what bird this feather came from, Mr. Kent?
No, I don't, Father.
This is one of the large tail quills of a big male turkey, bleached white.
A turkey?
Yes, that's what it is. I raised them out west when I was a boy, so I should know. This one's been bleached with lime or oxalic acid. The natural color is gray. Tell me more about this bird, Mr. Kent.
There's much more I know. Although I could scarcely believe that any bird, even a condor, was strong enough to carry off a human being, the abrupt ending of those footprints in the snow and Mr. Harmon's insistence that he had seen the giant bird made me wonder.
Where did you find Nancy and Jimmy?
In a cabin about 2 miles from here. There was a fire going in the stove, so evidently no permanent harm was meant them. They were both unconscious. I brought them back here, and, well, the rest you know.
Kent, I'm afraid we're dealing with a clever, unscrupulous individual who must be somewhere in this camp.
Well, how do you explain the footprints, Father?
I mean the fact that they ended abruptly and led nowhere.
Well, I can't at the moment. Neither can I explain the bird Mr. Harmon saw, unless it was simply hysteria. Certainly, Fred Harmon doesn't believe in the white plague now, does he?
I'm beginning to wonder. At times, even Dawson seems to be drawn in by it.
Of course, once Nancy and Jimmy awake and we're able to tell us what happened, why, then we'll know a great deal more than we do now.
Yes.
I wonder who that could be this time of the night.
I'll see. Oh, Dawson, come in.
Why, I thought you turned in, Bill.
Couldn't sleep, Father. This thing's been preying on my mind.
Pull up a chair for yourself.
Thank you.
Mr. Kent here has been telling me all that's happened, Bill. What do you make of it?
Well, right now I'm mixed up, Father. The men will clear out of camp in the morning. They're all scared to death.
What are they afraid of?
You know, same old story. The white plague.
Are you afraid of it, Bill?
Oh, me? Of course not.
I didn't think so. Well, who's leading the men on? Fear always has a leader, you know.
No one in particular, unless it's Kurt Travers. He keeps telling them the camp's cursed.
We've got to keep the men here, Bill, if only for their own morale. We've got to prove this white plague legend is just that, a legend.
You're going to have a tough time, Father, I can tell you.
Not if I get your help, Bill. By the way, Bill, do I understand that you said one of the loggers was bitten by a rattler? Now, you know as well as I do that rattlers hole in for the winter.
All right. It was the first thing I could think of at the moment. I mentioned a heart attack, but that didn't work.
Well, how did the man die?
He was poisoned, Father.
What?
Are you sure, Kent?
Positive.
You didn't say nothing to Mr. Harmon or me about that, Kent.
I was keeping it to myself. Someone around here can't be trusted.
Oh, listen, Kent, I don't take that kind of talk
No,
from no
no,
one.
no, sit down, Bill. I'm sure Mr. Kent meant no harm.
Better watch what he says.
You're very sensitive tonight, Dawson.
Please, Mr. Kent.
I'm sorry, Father.
How did you happen to discover the man was poisoned, Mr. Kent?
He was sitting on a stump eating lunch when he collapsed. I picked up the remains of the sandwich he dropped when I helped Dawson lift him and carry him to the shed. It was loaded with rat poison, bichloride of mercury.
I don't believe it.
Whether you believe it or not, I happen to have what's left of the sandwich, and I can produce it at the proper time.
Then what all this boils down to is systematic murder. But what possible motive could there be?
Wait a minute. The crew's lunch was packed by the cook. Nobody knew Sam Green was going to get that poisoned sandwich, assuming it was poison.
I don't think it was intended for Green. It didn't matter who got it.
Oh, sounds fishy to me. Don't it to you, Father?
Not if the man who poisoned it was out to create terror and fear of the white plague, which seems to be the case.
But then why did he try to get rid of Jimmy and myself? Certainly we played no part in the scheme of things.
Unless what, Mr. Kent?
I may be all wet on this, but could it be that the person who tried to kill us doesn't believe that Jimmy and I came here to the camp just for a vacation? Is it possible he thinks I'm spying on him?
That presupposes he has something to hide.
Wait a minute. Thought I heard someone moving around in the back room. Jimmy or Nancy might have regained consciousness. No, I guess not.
Who would have anything to hide in a backwoods logging camp?
It might be a crime committed some time ago.
Yeah, I can see this ain't getting nowhere. Guess I'll turn in. Good night, Father.
Good night, Bill. I trust you can sleep.
Good night, Dawson.
Good night.
I don't like his attitude. Not a bit.
Bill Dawson's all right. Little crude and little gruff, but harmless. You mustn't look for the polish of civilization in these woods, King. There isn't time to acquire it. Men of the North Country spend most of their working hours either fighting for existence or battling nature. Either way, they have a fight on their hands.
So do city people. I assure you life isn't any bed of roses for the unfortunate families who have to live in slum areas.
There you're right. But the problem up here is slightly different. Now, you work at the desk back at your newspaper office, don't you?
Yes.
Well, chances are you never stop to think of the sweat and blood that went into getting the wood for that desk. First, the superhuman labor of felling the tree with a thermometer at 30 degrees below zero, and then carting it to the river in the face of a blinding blizzard, then poling it 50 miles downstream where a misstep means horrible death. All for a desk or a chair or a pencil. These men who do that work face destruction every minute of the day, and all they have to guard against it is their wits and their brawn. You can't expect any social grace.
Oh, I don't, Father Malone. That wasn't my point. It's just that Dawson's been acting strange through all this misfortune. I can't quite understand it.
Well, I had that same trouble when I first arrived here, but I learned fast. They don't talk unless they have something to say. And they've never seen anything accomplished by talking. It takes 2 brawny arms and a sharp-bladed axe to fell a tree, not just words. Understand?
I think so.
But you mustn't let me go on like this. Now, you were saying that Bill's actions have been strange.
Wait a minute. Thought I heard a voice. Yeah.
Wait, you did. Someone shouting fire.
Look, one of the cabins is blazing. Come on, Father.
Right behind you, Kent. Look at those flames.
Say, you can feel the heat from here. It's terrific.
Those dry pine logs go up like tinder. I wonder whether anyone's in that cabin.
No, we'll find out.
Hey! Is there anyone inside? Yes! Kirk Travers! He can't get out! He's trapped!
Kirk Travers! Trapped! We've got to
Roaring, devastating fire, the woodsman's one deadly fear. Will Kent, even as Superman, be able to save Kurt Travers from the blazing inferno of his log cabin? And can the fire be kept from spreading into the forest beyond the camp? Tune in again for more thrills.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature of presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hand, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. As you remember, Jimmy Olsen and Nancy Harmon, missing from the Bartlett logging camp for hours, were found in a cabin deep in the woods, both of them unconscious from a sleeping potion. Father Malone, a strapping Northwoods priest, summoned from the nearest town because of his widespread fame as a minister to the body as well as the soul, has decided that neither Jimmy nor Nancy will suffer any ill effects after the potion has worn off. But in the meantime, while Kent and Father Malone are talking in the camp office, a fire breaks out in one of the loggers' cabins. A roaring inferno in which a helpless man is trapped.
Are you sure there's someone in that cabin? Yes, Kirk Travers.
Kirk Travers?
He can't get out.
They'll never quench that fire with water, Kent.
I'm afraid not, Father. It's too far gone. What are you doing?
Taking off my coat. I'm going in for that man.
No, you're not.
I can't even when they're to die like a caged animal.
Father,
let go of me, Kent.
You'll never get through that wall of flame, Father Malone. Now, it's you, but listen to me. You stay here. If the fire shifts, you may be able to get through that window. I'll go round to the other side. We'll get him out if it's humanly possible.
All right, Kent. Good luck for you.
Well, it's not humanly possible, but it is possible for Superman. There's only one difficulty. I can't afford to have anyone see me. No time to worry about that now. I'll have to chance it. Now, this is where the door must be. All right, here goes. There, I'm inside. I don't think I was seen. Now to find Travers and haul him out. Great Scott, this fire hasn't missed an inch of the cabin. It's burning like all fury. Travers! Travers! Oh, there he is. Doubled up in the corner with the flames playing all around him. His clothes are on fire. Beat these flames out with my hands. There. Hope I'm not too late. Poor fellow's horribly burned. Well, out we go, right through the thick of it. That does it. We came through there so fast, I don't think the flames got to him again. Now to assume Clark Kent's role.
Father Malone.
Oh, thank heavens, you got him out.
Yes, the door collapsed, and there he was. But he's badly burned. We've got to get him to Mr. Harmon's cabin.
Can I help you?
No, I'll carry him. You lead the way.
Let me have that ointment, Dawson.
First?
Yes. Is that saline solution ready, Kent?
I have it right here.
Completely dissolved.
Yes?
You know how to fill a hypodermic syringe?
I think so.
You'll find one in my bag, wrapped in sterile gauze. Fill it with the salt solution, but hurry.
All right.
How does it look, Father? Not too good, Bill. Most of his burns are 3rd degree, and they're bad. Ready with that hypo, Kent?
In a minute. Here it is.
Good. Now, turn his left arm around. Palm up.
Palm up, yeah.
Careful. That's it.
There.
Now, hold it steady.
I got it.
Fill the hypo again, Kent.
All right.
How did the fire start, Bill?
Nobody knows. When I left here, I walked over to my cabin. The minute I got inside, I heard someone yell.
It couldn't have flared up like that in less than a minute.
Hypo's ready, Father Malone.
Thank you. Now, hold his arm gently.
All right.
It's enough for the time being, anyhow. Now all we can do is hope and pray. I've done everything I can, spiritually and physically. Cover him up with that blanket.
All right, Father. There we are. There. Now, I'm going out to look at what's left of the cabin. I'll be right back.
We'll come with you, Ken.
Oh, all right.
You say you didn't see any fire when you passed Travers' cabin on the way to your own, Bill?
No, I didn't.
That's impossible.
I told you I didn't see no fire, Kent.
And I tell you it's impossible.
Why, you dirty...
Let it out, both of you.
He can't call me no liar and get away with it. I'll bust him in two. Put your hands up, Kent. You're going to get the thrashing of your life.
I'm ready.
I'll whip the terror to both of you unless you stop this nonsense. And don't think I can't do it.
No man calls me a liar. I don't care who he is.
If that's the worst you ever called, Dawson, you're lucky. Now, come on, and don't try anything, either of you. Now, let's fly with the right course that won me a boxing championship at college. Come on.
I ain't through with him yet. Not by a long shot.
Well, here's what's left of the cabin. Nothing but a few pieces of charred pine and an iron cot.
Yeah, that fire must have been burning for a good 10 minutes before we heard the logger shout.
I tell you, it wasn't burning when I went by.
Now, hold your temper, Bill. I'm inclined to agree with Kent. He couldn't possibly have gotten that far and done so much damage.
Wait a minute. Smell this piece of wood, Father.
Kent. It smells like kerosene.
That's what it is. I may have to apologize, Dawson. If the cabin was saturated with kerosene, it might very well have gone up in less than a minute.
I didn't see no fire.
Yeah, this piece of wood has kerosene on it, too. That's what happened, Father. Someone spilled kerosene around the cabin and then touched a match to it.
Well, that hardly sounds possible, Kent. Dawson, was Travers alone in the cabin?
Yeah. Preston used to bunk with him, but he was the one who disappeared and then came back to die before he could talk. Travers was afraid he was going to be next. He said so when Sam Green went. He and Sam worked on the last tree we felled this morning.
Ah, don't talk nonsense, Bill. This isn't any ridiculous legend. This is cold-blooded murder. We'd better get the sheriff. He should have been called in a long time ago. Send one of your men to town, Bill.
Wait a minute. Someone's coming over.
Mr. Dawson.
What is it, Charlie?
The men are all set to hike into Movie. They say they ain't spending another night here. Thought I'd better tell you.
Wait. Let me talk to them. Where are they, Charlie?
Won't do no good, Father. Hank and Chris swear they saw a guy with wings go into the burning cabin after Kurt Travers. They don't want no part of this camp.
A man with wings? Well, they're out of their minds.
I think I can handle them. You and Dawson go back to the office, Kent, and keep an eye on Travers. All right, Charlie. Now take me over to them.
I'm sorry I went overboard, Dawson. You won't hold it against me, will you?
Forget it.
Thanks. Well, come on. What do you make of this now, Dawson?
It don't make sense. I'm beginning to feel like the men. White plague or no white plague, I want to get out. I don't like it. Aunt Perchet and Chris Dunham say they saw a man with wings going after Travers. They're no blind fools. Can't they saw something?
Well, they probably saw me pulling Travers out of the doorway.
Well, maybe.
Oh, Mr. Harmon's up. Hello.
Kent, what happened? Why is Kurt Travers lying there?
One of the cabins caught fire and burned down. Travers was trapped inside.
Dawson, is that true?
Yes. Didn't you hear nothing?
Not a sound. I woke up suddenly and walked out here and saw Travers stretched out on the couch, white as a ghost. Is he...
Father Malone tried to save him. We can't be sure yet. Right now, he looks... Dawson. He passed away.
How do you know?
No pulse, no respiration. He's gone.
Well, this is ghastly. When will it stop?
What's that puddle near the couch?
Snow melting off Mr. Harmon's shoes. Want me to get Father Malone, Kent?
No, it's too late now. Draw the blanket up.
That makes 5, don't it?
Yeah.
5 men murdered.
No. Not murdered. No, it can't be.
I'm afraid that's what it is, Mr. Harmon.
Dawson, did you wire Mr. Bartlett?
Did you tell him we were closing up?
Haven't had a chance.
Haven't had a...
It don't matter. The men are quitting, all of them.
I don't blame them. I'm going myself. This is too much. Where's Nancy?
She and Jimmy are still sleeping off the effects of the drug. I'll look in on them.
You don't blame me, Bill, do you? You don't blame me for closing the camp?
No, I don't blame you. I've had enough of it myself. That cabin going up in flames was the last straw.
How did it start?
Kerosene.
You mean?
Someone poured kerosene all over it. Someone who wanted to get rid of Kurt Travers.
Jimmy and Nancy are all right.
Where's Father Malone?
Talking to your men, trying to convince them to stay.
No, I don't want him to. Let them go.
Why, Mr. Harmon?
I can't keep them here any longer. Their lives are in danger. Let them go. We've all got to get out. As soon as possible.
Oh, here's Father Malone now.
Well, the men agreed to stay. What's the matter, Kent? Oh, Mr. Harmon's up.
Travers is dead, Father.
No. At least he felt no pain. For that, we give thanks.
Father Malone, I don't want the men to remain in camp. I'm closing it up.
Hey, you can't do that, Mr. Harmon. I won't permit it.
What do you mean?
I won't let these men become the victims of stupid, senseless fear. If they leave, it must be with a conviction that human hands wreaked this havoc, that a twisted human brain created this madness. And further, whoever has been responsible for this must be brought to justice.
But I've had enough, I tell you. I can't stand any more of it.
Kent, watch him.
Easy there, Mr. Harmon. Here, take my hand. You better sit down.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. That's all right. We understand. Kent, you and Dawson carry poor Travers into one of the back rooms.
All right, Father.
I've asked all the men to come here. We're going to get to the bottom of this before dawn.
All right, Kent. Take a seat. Easy.
You must get a grip on yourself, Mr. Harmon. You can't show the men that you've been affected.
All right, I'll try. I'll do my best.
That's the way to talk.
Father Malone.
Yes, Kent?
I don't think it will be necessary to have the men here.
Well, why not? It's the only way to question everyone at once.
I don't think you'll have to question anyone.
Well, what do you mean?
I know who killed those 5 loggers. I know who set fire to the cabin. I know who's responsible for everything that's happened. And I can prove it.
Well, Clark Kent certainly seems sure of himself, doesn't he? Do you know who used the legend of the White Plague to cast an evil spell of mystery over the Bartlett logging camp? Then tune in on the next episode of Superman for a startling solution.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. The greatest space search in history is slowly drawing to an end. A manhunt that has seen the mighty Solar Guard fleet sweep space from the outer edges of Pluto to the twilight zone of Mercury in a search for 2 men who have in their possession every ounce of a priceless chemical explosive, N-72C. 2 men, one a hardened criminal, the other a space cadet of the Polaris unit, Roger Manning. Now, one by one, the heavy rocket cruisers report in to Captain Strong at Space Academy.
Rocket cruiser Capella to Space Academy. Come in.
This is Strong at Space Academy. Go ahead with your report.
Complete
completed patrol and search of 19 spacecraft in sectors 45, 46, 47, John K. Jupiter orbit. No sign of Cadet Roger Manning or Jonas Brady. No evidence of N-72C explosives. Running low of fuel. Request permission to proceed to nearest base for refuel.
Your orders are to proceed to Venusport and deactivate your ship.
Deactivate my ship? I don't understand.
Production of uranium pitchblende has been stopped as a result of the stolen N-72C. Present supply of reactant fuel has been restricted to emergencies only.
Emergency? Well, this is an emergency.
You have your orders. Proceed to Venusport and deactivate your ship. End transmission. That's the 35th ship I've had to cradle in the last 2 weeks. Everyone put away is one less chance of finding Roger and Brady and the missing N-72C.
Well, I still can't believe that Roger had anything to do with this.
Well, the evidence is pretty strong, Corbett. He's AWOL from the Academy. He shipped aboard Brady's space freighter voluntarily, and Brady had the stolen explosives aboard.
I know, sir, but...
Then he refused to talk to me when we contacted the freighter. Now, we found Brady's ex-partner dead, and one shot had been fired from Roger's gun.
But that still doesn't prove Roger's guilt.
We'll give him every chance in the world to prove his innocence when we find him. Right now, the Solar Guard fleet is sinking to the size of a squadron for lack of fuel. In another 2 weeks, the only things we'll have left in space will be memories.
Well, Space Boy, how you doing?
Fine. Till you came in, Brady.
Still got that big mouth, huh, Manning? Maybe I should have closed it for you back on Jupiter.
Maybe you should have. What do you want with me, anyhow?
Well, now with poor old Peter's gone, I need help.
Don't give me that poor old Peters routine. You blasted him with a parallel ray and then left him in an open airlock without a spacesuit.
I did? You're wrong, kid. You blasted him. It was your gun Captain Strong found next to Peter's body.
So what? He wouldn't believe I did it.
Now, then why did he send out a space alert for both of us? Wanted for robbery and murder Jonas Brady and Roger Manning.
You're full of space gas.
Not a bit, kid. You're all tied up with me now. And we got 10 million credits worth of explosives to feed into the black market.
You won't get a blasted cent out of it. The Solar Guard will nail you the minute you stick your head out of this asteroid.
The Solar Guard is finished, Buster. They're running out of fuel and pulling their ships in. In another week, I'll be free to operate over the whole blasted universe.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by.
Fellas and girls, how would you like to have a photograph cutout of Roger Manning, a swell picture you could hang up on your wall? Well then, hold on to your seatbelts, because I'm going to tell you where to get one. And besides Roger Manning's picture, you can get pictures of Astro, Tom Corbett, and Dr. Dale, too. These swell, true-to-life picture cutouts of your favorite space cadets are waiting for you right now on the back of packages of Kellogg's Pep. Wait till you see them. They're full-length pictures in exciting Space Academy uniforms. You want to get the whole set. Each picture makes a swell cutout. You can frame them, hang them on the wall, paste them on books. Everybody will have their favorite Space Cadet picture cutout, and you want yours too. So start your collection now. Just go to your grocery store and get a regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep. Look on the back of the package. That's where you'll find your Space Cadet cutout. And remember, every time you buy a regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep, you'll get another cutout right on the back of the package. Get ready to blast off for your package of Kellogg's Pep just as soon as you can. Remember, to get your swell Space Cadet cutout, be sure you ask for the Build-Up Wheat Cereal. Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
3 weeks have passed since the disappearance of Jonas Brady and the stolen explosive N-72C. 3 weeks in which half of the vast fleet of the Solar Guard has been grounded for lack of fuel. Now, in Captain Strong's office at Space Academy, Tom Corbett suddenly rushes in with important information.
Look at this report, sir. Just came in from Titan. 3 spacecrafts have been working a small pitchblende deposit. And it shows in the past 2 weeks, production of pitchblende by these prospectors jumped from 50 tons a week to over 3,000. What? Now, the only way they could have jumped their production that much would be by using N72C explosives. And these same men bought several gallons of sulfuric acid. The only other way to ignite N72C without the special detonator.
Great Jupiter, this may be the break we've been waiting for.
Sure, now that the explosive is showing up, it should be easy to grab those prospectors and make them tell where they got it.
No, Corbett. Brady's made a mistake, and we've got to be sure he never finds out he's made it. Get your gear and stand by to blast off immediately. We're going to set a trap for a space rat. All right, Corbett, you ready?
Yes, sir, all set. What? Skipper, you're out of uniform.
Yep, part of the plan, Tom.
Plan, sir?
Commander Arkwright and I decided the only way to catch a space rat is to become a space rat and go where the space rats go.
Oh, I get it. Act like we're a couple of prospectors wanting to use N72C for ourselves.
Exactly. So you and I are no longer Captain Strong and Tom Corbett of Space Academy, but simply Steve and Tom, space rats.
It's going to be tough, sir.
I know, Tom, and dangerous. But if we have to talk to every space rat from Luna City to Venusport, we'll find Brady and the N72C.
And Roger Manning. By the rings of Saturn, this must be the worst dive in Venusport, Skipper.
Skipper? Steve.
Oh, yeah, Steve.
Yes, Tom, this is about as bad as they come. Space rats, criminals, spacemen have lost their papers for one thing or another. They all come to places like these. Come on, I'll get a bottle of Martian water while you grab a table.
Right.
Hiya, Buster. Mind if an old rocket jockey sits down?
Go ahead, have a seat, spaceman.
Thank you. Oh, the old bones ain't what they used to be. Too much acceleration's what did it. Too much when I was a youngster and ready to ride anything that could blast off. Say, you just looking for pleasure or something special?
Here you are, Tommy. Here's the... Oh, who's your friend?
Oh, spaceman, Steve. What'd you say your name was?
I didn't say, but it's Shinny, Nicholas Shinny. Rocketman, third class. 20 years as an enlisted man in the Solar Guard.
Oh, how are you, Shinny? Glad to know you.
Mr. Shinny to you. I'm old enough to be father to both of you.
Okay, Mr. Shinny. My name's Steve.
I'm Tom.
Glad to meet you, boys.
Well, how about a drink?
Now, that's something I ain't turned down in 20 years.
Well, here you are, Mr. Shinny.
Thank you, thank you. Spaceman's luck. Now then, what brings you two fellers down to this part of Venusport, eh? Got a strike lined up?
Well, yes. We have a pitch blende strike lined up all right. Picked out in the asteroid belt. But we can't get the stuff out of the ground.
Oh, deposit runs too deep from the surface, eh?
Right. We've been trying to get some atomic explosives to blast it out of there.
I can tell you ain't space ratted very long. Why, spaceman, atomic explosives would blast your little asteroid back to proton.
Well, what else is there? TBT or dynamite wouldn't reach it.
What you need is some N72C.
N72C. Oh, that's a real bright suggestion.
Yeah, go buy some at the Corner Credit Exchange.
It might be easier than that.
Hey, look, Mr. Shinny, don't tell me you know where you can get some N72C.
Maybe, maybe not. If you figure on using it, your pitch blende strike's got to be big, because N72C will cost you plenty.
How much?
50,000 credits a box.
Is that all? Listen, Mr. Shinny, we got a strike lined up that'll make the Pluto mines look like a hole in the ground.
That's so. Well, now, maybe we can do business. But, I get 1/3 of whatever you dig out.
1/3? That might be as much as 5 million credits.
You heard me. 1/3.
Listen, you broken down space bum. You try to hold us up for 1/3 and you won't get anything. I'll give you 1/5. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
Have you got the explosive nearby?
No, I can find out where to get it, but you can't. Meet me at the spaceport tomorrow night, around this time. In the meantime, I have to do a little scouting around. Right connections, you know. Say, about 10,000 credits.
I'll give you 5.
I'll take it.
And believe me, Mr. Shinny, if you're not at the spaceport tomorrow night, you'd better not be in Venusport at all, because I'll boot you from here to the asteroid belt. Remember that.
There you are. I've been dragging this blasted old spacesuit around for an hour looking for you.
A metal spacesuit? Why, Jupiter, that must weigh a ton, Mr. Shinny.
So what? I don't trust them new fandangled plastic suits, Buster. Ain't safe.
Listen, have you got the N72C?
Have you got the credits?
Yes, of course.
Then I got the N72C. This ways I know where to get it. Where's your space wagon?
Right over there, that freighter.
All right, Buster. Let's blast off. We got an appointment in 2 days with some N72C on planetoid 16 in orbit, fourth moon of Jupiter.
Well, we're here, Captain Strong. Take a look through the viewport. What a desolate place.
Perfect spot for a meeting like this.
But where's the explosives? I can't see a thing out there.
Shinny told me the man who has it will meet us here.
Well, did he tell you his name?
No, but I'm sure it'll be Brady.
Skipper, look. The jet boat's coming in.
The boat from the Jenny Alden. Well, that's Brady's ship. Come on, let's get to the airlock and put on our spacesuits. We'll go out and meet him.
You think Brady will recognize us?
I don't think he'll remember you. And I think this beard I've been growing, plus my space helmet, will do the trick for me.
Oh, giving Shinny that sleeping pill in his rocket juice was a good idea.
That's a precaution, Tom. All right, put on your helmet.
All set, Skipper.
Okay, let's go. And remember, if Brady does recognize us...
I know, sir. It'll probably be the last chance we'll get to find the N72C or Roger. There's the jet boat, Steve, but I don't see anyone around.
Probably inside. Come on in. Let's take a look.
Which one of you guys is going to do the talking?
I didn't see you come up behind us.
That was just the idea. Now stand still while I take your power ray gun. There. Now start talking. It better be good talk.
What do you mean, talk? You know why I'm here. I've got a pitch-blende strike line up in the asteroid belt, and I need N72C to blast this stuff out.
How do you know I've got any N723?
Why,
I can't breathe. My oxygen line. I can't.
You're not getting oxygen. Tell me to get under the table, quick.
What is that?
Give me a hand, blast you. I can't carry him myself. He's not getting oxygen.
Okay, but watch it. I still got you covered with this barrel ray.
Wait a minute now. Let me get his helmet off. There. You okay, Tom?
Yeah. Thanks. Intake valve must have jammed. It'll only take me a second to fix it.
Like I'm in a hurry. You want that N723C or not?
Yes, I'll take 5 pounds. You got that much?
I got that and plenty more. That'll be 500,000 credits.
500,000? I was told it would be 50,000 credits.
The price has gone up. 500,000. Then I deliver the stuff to you here.
Why can't I pick it up? What if you don't come back?
If you want it, you'll take the chance.
Well, I have to speak to my partner. Half the credits are his.
Okay, but make it quick.
Tom, have you got it set up?
Yeah, all ready to work.
Good. Then put on your helmet and let's go. And by the way, nice acting.
Thanks.
All right, Brady, I'll take it. But only 3 pounds of N72C, that's all I can afford.
Where's your money?
Right here. 300,000 credits.
Hey, you guys must really have a big vein to start off with a stake like this. Most space rats don't make this much in a lifetime.
It's to be delivered in 4 hours, Brady. And if you don't come back, we'll come looking for you.
I'll be back. Besides, if the solar god can't find me, how can you?
Hey, wait a minute. How about our Peril ray guns?
They go with me, and don't try to follow me. Now get out.
Okay. There he goes, Tom. Straight back to the N72C.
Yeah, leaving a trail behind him as big as a comet with a radar beacon signal I attached to his jet boat.
We'll give him a half-hour start and then blast off after him. With any kind of luck, we'll find the N72C and Roger.
Yeah, if he's still alive.
Your pals thought they were pulling a fast one. They expect me to come back with the N72C. Only I'm not going back. Now I got enough credits to live like a prince without touching the N72C anymore.
Don't kid yourself, Brady. They've got a line on you now. They'll find you here, and you'll wind up peddling your explosive on the prison asteroid.
You must think I'm pretty dumb, kid.
You're no brain.
That's just where you're wrong. Sure, maybe strong in that pile of years will track me down, but it'll take 'em time. Time enough for me to set a little trap for 'em.
Trap? You talk big, Brady. It'll never work.
Ah, yes, it will, Junior. Because there's going to be some very inviting bait in my trap. And the bait's going to be you.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment, so stand by. Blast off power. That's what you get in Kellogg's Pep. Get blast off power. Start your day with hearty Kellogg's Pep. Pep gives you the kind of hard-hitting food energy you need to rock it off into a busy day. It's the cereal the cadets at Space Academy call for when there's action ahead. And Pep supplies you with essential vitamins, too. You get vitamin B1 and a whole day's supply of vitamin D in every serving. No wonder spacemen head for the breakfast table and pour out a big helping of Pep every morning. It's Kellogg's Pep for blast-off power. And say, just wait till you taste that keen whole wheat and malt flavor. You'll be reaching for second helpings every time. Kellogg's Pep with milk and sugar is the perfect way to start the day. When you fill up a bowlful and dig in, you want to travel at full space speed right through to the last bite. After all, Roger, Tom, and all the cadets say the same thing. For swell eating and blast-off food power, it's Kellogg's Pep. So start your day the spaceman's way. Ask Mom to get the cereal that gives you more builder-upper food values than any other wheat flake. Ask Mom to get Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Hoping to trap Jonas Brady and learn where he has hidden the stolen explosive N72C, Captain Strong and Tom have trailed him to one of the secondary moons of Jupiter. But now, as they cautiously make their way across the desolate terrain toward Brady's jet boat, they are unaware that they have been led into a trap.
We're getting close to the jet boat, Tom. Easy around those rocks now. Try not to make any noise. Right. Keep low. As soon as you spot the jet boat...
Great Jupiter.
You see it?
No, it's Roger. Look, sir. Standing up on that rock.
What in blazes? Well, he's looking right at it, but he isn't moving.
He was hit with a Peril ray. Come on, sir. He's got his spacesuit on. Maybe he's all right.
I hope so. Stand back now. I'll hit him with my neutralizer.
Not bothered, Brad.
What?
It's Brady.
Drop that ray gun. Go on. You too, kid.
Why, you...
No, Tom. Do as he says.
Real smart of you, Captain. But now I'm going to frost you and leave you here just like I did Peters without a spacesuit. So long, Captain Strong. Hey, what flavor?
Skipper, it's Shinny in his old suit.
Stay back, you old space bum. Stay back.
Like time I will, Buster.
All right, take it.
Keep trying.
Why, you...
Skipper, his ray doesn't work. Not through metal.
Time for us to take over, Tom.
Right.
No. Stay back, all of you. See that?
Skipper, he has a chunk of N72C.
That's right. One more step and I'll throw it.
Don't be a fool. You'll blast yourself.
What have I got to lose now? You got your choice. Let me go with all these space junks. You got like 10 to make up your mind. 1, 2,
Like that space Corey, he ain't letting him get away with it, are you?
I'm afraid we have no choice, Shinny.
Yes, we do, Skipper.
Now, come back here.
Stay right, kid.
Go ahead, throw it, Brady. Let's see if you have the nerve.
I'm warning you.
Oh, look out. He's throwing the stuff. We'll all be killed.
Just 2 minutes with Brady alone, Skipper, please.
For the last time, Manning, no.
Oh, I never get a break.
You're getting one now, Manning, by being allowed back in the academy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Sorry, Skipper.
No, I figure we all got a break. Coming out of this alive, Well, if that stuff hadn't been a dud...
Oh, it wasn't a dud, Mr. Shinny. The N72C is plenty potent.
Then how in the name of Pluto...
It can't be exploded by ordinary concussion, Shinny. It needs a special detonator, or sulfuric acid. I forgot about that for a moment.
Well, smoke my tubes while they connect.
And while we're passing around the bouquet, that was real smart of you to come charging up in that old metal spacesuit of yours, Mr. Shinny.
Just goes to show you, sometimes the old things are better than newfangled contraptions.
Why did you do it, Shinny? I thought you were working with Brady.
I knew you two were from the Solar Guard the minute you walked into that dive in Venusport.
What?
Yep. And when I found out what you wanted, I figured you could help me get what I wanted.
Well, what did you want?
A solar medal. I was buried in the rocket decks of the Solar Guard for 20 years. They didn't even know I was alive. But I'm going to get me a solar medal this time if I have to tear Space Academy apart.
What a spaceman.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris rockets into danger in The Mystery of the Sparkling Meteor. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet.
Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the Build-Up Wheat Cereal.
Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Edward Bryce, Ian Martin, and Gilbert Mack. Today's program was written by Richard Jessup, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Beck speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins, along with delicious Golden Crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal all in one box. And no other raisin bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's.
You, finding life rather dull, dreaming again of exotic places, wishing you were somewhere else? We offer you escape.
Escape with us now to the Old West and the unusual story of a merciless professional killer, as Ernest Haycox tells it in Wild Jack Rett.
Red Mesa. A little town springing out of the hot, dry prairie beside the Chisholm Trail. A saloon, a hotel, 2 general stores, and a tiny church where the decent citizenry might pray for salvation while a wilder element, trail driver and teamster and buffalo hunter, restlessly searched out friend and enemy along the dusty main street. A small hill rose on the western edge of Red Mesa, plagued with a rash of graves, some marked and cared for, others sinking and forgotten.
Man that is born of woman hath but a short time to live, and is full of misery. He cometh up and is cut down like a flower. He flieth as it were a shadow. While we're praying, a couple of you boys start throwing some dirt on the sheriff. O Lord, with whom do live the spirits of them that be dead, and in whom the souls of men...
And that same evening, a committee of the leading citizens of Red Mesa gathered together at Mayor Wayne's home to decide upon a new sheriff.
All right, gentlemen, sit down and let's get this settled. Gentlemen, to make this town a decent place for our womenfolk and children, we've got to have a sheriff Todd Mallon and his kind can't kill. We need the toughest gunfighter available. And I want to propose...
Just a minute, Mayor Wayne. Let me speak.
All right. Go ahead, Boylan.
I don't think we should get all upset just because we lost another sheriff. Jim Speed worked out fine for Red Mesa. All we need is another sheriff just about like him.
I expected that, Boylan. All you look out for is to keep that saloon of yours full of anybody who'll buy whiskey and gamble. I still propose we reform this town by sending for a man some of you may have heard of. Jack Rett.
Gentlemen, I do want my saloon full. And full of the only men who'll bring any money at all into Red Mesa. Cowpunchers coming up the Chisholm Trail with Texas cattle. Thirsty men on the prod from a long drive. But you give them Jack Rett instead of a little fun, and this town will go broke.
We'll chance that, Boylan. We'll chance that.
What about Matt Travener? What's he got to say?
I've nothing to say, gentlemen. As U.S. Deputy Marshal for the district, my job is strictly outside Red Mesa. You run your town any way you like. I'll handle the surrounding territory.
Know anything about Jack Rett, Travener?
Just by reputation. Professional town tamer. And I've heard he's the most cold-blooded killer ever drew a gun.
Travener's right. We can't afford a man like that here.
Let's put it to a vote, gentlemen. All in favor of sending for Jack Rett, raise their right hand. 5-1. The matter is settled, gentlemen. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, Wayne.
You'll wait and see Mary, Travener?
If you don't mind, Mayor.
Of course. Sit down. She'll be out in a minute. Well, boy, Helen is pretty mad. But after Jack Rett is here for a while, at least there'll be less gunfighting.
Be less anyway if Todd Mellon were out of the way. He sets a bad example. He's a hard man to catch.
Well, you've done all you can, Travener. There's just too much territory around here for Mallon and his gang to lose themselves in. He'll have to be taken by a town officer, and I think Rett is the man to do it, if Mallon comes to town again.
He'll come, Mayor. The word gets out that Rett is sheriff here, Mallon will have to face him or lose his reputation with his own men.
Good evening, Father. Hello, Matt.
Good evening.
Hello, darling.
Well, Matt Travener, aren't you going to kiss me?
Of course, sure. Here.
Mary. What a shameless wench you are.
Oh, Father, you're old-fashioned. After all, we're engaged.
Your mother, God rest her soul, didn't behave like that when we were engaged.
The war changed things, Father.
I know, but not for the better. Well, I'm off to bed. Don't stay up too late now. Good night.
Good night, Father. You look worried, Matt.
Do I?
Tell me about it.
Well, it's just that they're sending for a new sheriff. A legal killer named Rett. He has quite a reputation, and there'll always be men to challenge it.
That means more gunfighting. Is that it?
I'm afraid so. It's a bloody way to peace, Mary.
I know. Let's not worry about it now. Come on. I'll pick some coffee for us.
3 weeks later, Wild Jack Rett rode into Red Mesa. He was 38 and at the peak of his reputation. He stood well over 6 feet, better than 200 pounds of plain sinew. Tawny blonde hair grew long in the frontier style, and his features, fair and tinted like a girl's, were boldly aquiline. He was a picturesque man, till one looked at his eyes, which were large and pale blue, and had the disconcerting trick of remaining too steadily on people. There was to be seen in them the suggestion of inhumanity. He sent word to the committee that he'd meet him at the mayor's office that evening.
It's 8 o'clock now. Where is he?
He's in town, and that's bad enough.
Dear sport, Bo Helen. We took a fair vote on Rett.
Here he comes now.
My name is Jack Rett. I have your offer.
I'm Peter Wayne, mayor of Red Mesa. Do you accept it?
Depends on what you want. Tell me.
Rett, this is a difficult town. The Chisholm Trail lies just across the river, and we get most of our money from the riders passing through with Texas cattle. Now, we want them to have a decent time for their money, but we don't like a lot of gunplay and killing.
I've always been accustomed to complete authority, Mayor. I presume to know my job, and I won't have interference.
That's agreed, Rett. By the way, the last sheriff had a rule that riders leave their hardware at his office. He had trouble enforcing it.
A poor rule. Let them pack their guns.
Well, that gives the wild ones a fair chance at you.
I never give a man a fair chance at me. Is that all, gentlemen?
Bohelen's saloon was the usual deadfall, with a huge bar along one side of the room and gaming tables toward the rear. Next morning, Bohelen stood tapping the mahogany of the bar with his fingertips, staring thoughtfully at nothing.
Good morning, Bohelen.
It's noon, Samus.
Huh? Oh, sure. Draw me a beer, Mike. Yeah. Where's the new sheriff, Bohelen?
Over there at the corner table. Came in just before you did.
Huh?
Barkeep, bring me a cigar, a glass of rye.
Yeah. Now he's going to clean and reload his 6 guns, one at a time.
By golly, he is. How'd you know?
It's an old gunman's trick to impress the citizens.
But there's no one here except you and me.
Then it's to impress me.
I don't... Goodbye, Bohelen. Mike.
You've got something to say to me, Bohelen?
Yes, I have. You're smart, Red. I recognize that. But your record for killing is too severe, and my business depends on an open town. Now, the reform element got you, and I'll go along for now. But just remember one thing. I can break you, Rett, any time.
I was waiting for that, Bohelen.
Well, then I guess we understand each other.
Hello?
Oh, any luck, Matt?
Just a morning's ride.
Matt, here's Jack Rett. Rett, this is Mac Travener, U.S. Deputy Marshal for the district.
Glad to know you, Rett.
You're young.
Don't be misled. Rett, your job is in town, mine is everything outside. So I'll either back you up here in Red Mesa or leave you strictly alone.
I'll handle Red Mesa.
All right. One more thing. I want Todd Mallon. If he comes to town again, he'll have to be taken. Will you do that or shall I?
What is he?
Outlaw. His main line is plain robbery. Now I want him for killing Jim Speed.
Let me handle Mallon.
Why?
Killing's my trade. Man doesn't live with enough animal instinct to get me.
Maybe. Killing you would build a man's reputation considerable.
Just so?
Well, good luck, Rett.
There was peace for a full week in Red Mesa. And then on Saturday night, Matt Travener's prediction came true. Jack Rett was at his customary post just opposite Bohelen's saloon, in a chair on the porch of the Chinook Hotel, obscured by the shadows and watching the crowd, his cold, pale eyes half concealed by cigar smoke. Trouble found him thus.
Evening, Sheriff.
Evening, ma'am.
Keeping an eye on the boys, huh?
Where's this Rett that used to be an Abilene? Where's he hiding? Where's that great man, Wild Jack Rett? Bring him out!
Hello, cowboy.
That's a lot of killing for one, Sheriff.
Free men. I don't like it.
Forget it, friend. Have a drink and forget it.
You're Bo Helen, ain't you?
That's right. Come on now, have one in the house. Mike, fix him up.
I can pay for my liquor. You never gave him a chance. What kind of sheriff you got stands in a shadow and kills one man, and then jumps 50 feet from his gun flash and shoots down 2 more? Those boys never had a chance at him.
Drink your drink, cowboy.
That was the most merciless killing I ever seen. He's a butcher. I wish I'd gunned him. Up!
This is my game. Never fools to play it. Never buck a man who's spent his life learning to kill, son. Get out of town. Get out now.
Red? What if I
Don't try it, son. Don't let your anger destroy it. Drift. Go on. Drift.
Blast your town. I can hold my thirst another 200 miles up the trail. Come on, boys. We'll send word back to Texas to go around Red Mesa and let it dry our powder. Yeah, sure.
It won't do, Rett.
It'll do, Bo Ellen. Barkeep, bring me a glass of rye. On the house.
Rett stood with his back to the bar, holding his drink and a thin black cigar carefully in one hand. He stood there for about 10 minutes. Then trouble came again.
Todd Mellon, he's riding in with 4 men.
Close the games. Open up the back doors.
Well, Jack Rett, now let's see you shoot down Todd Mellon and 4 men from the shadows.
Good night, Bo Helen.
Escape, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, returns in just a moment. Sorry, but if you think school teachers have it easy, you've got another think coming. Just ask our Miss Brooks, as played by Eve Arden, on most of these same CBS stations this evening. And now, back to Escape.
When word came to Bo Helen's saloon that Todd Mellon was riding into Red Mesa with 4 men, Jack Rett simply walked out, crossed the street to his office, sat down and waited. 20 minutes later, Todd Mellon had arrived and departed. Not a shot fired. Then Jack Rett went quietly to bed. But early Sunday morning, he was back in his office.
Come in.
Morning, Rett.
Well, Krabner?
There's talk, Rett.
I expect that.
Now, Rett, you told me you'd handle Mellon if he came to town.
Yes, Travener.
Well, they say Mellon rode into town last night with 4 men. Rode right up to this office, got down, came inside. That you and he stood here with this desk between you talking. And that a few minutes later, Mellon left and rode out of town.
I play the game my own way, Travener. And I don't want interference from anybody.
People are saying maybe you and Mellon made a deal of some kind.
Well, now, somebody's breaking the Sabbath. Know who it could be, Travener?
No, I don't.
That's a rifle. Sounds like one of those 7-shot Spencers.
Well, it's old Hack Crow.
Who's he?
An old trapper. Comes to town every few months, sells his furs, gets drunk, goes a little crazy. Jim Speed always laid him away in jail to sober.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
You better stop him, Rett.
He's only got 2 shots left. That'll satisfy him. I doubt if he'll reload.
And if he notices us and decides to shoot?
Then I'll have to kill him. Hey, who's that coming out of Bo Helen's?
Ewald Bay, gambler.
He's a fool.
Guys, get this horse. You going to stop him, Rett?
No. Let him go.
Rett, the town is your territory, and I won't interfere. But why did you refuse a fair shot at Hack Crow? Ewald Bay is dead.
Which is the more useful citizen, Traveler? Crow or Bay? The West is full of gamblers.
There was considerable talk that day in Red Mesa over Jack Rett's aloof and cruel calm in condoning a shooting that had occurred under his very eyes and within reach of his formidable guns. Then, mid-afternoon, a rider came up from the prairie and reported finding old Hack Crow dead in a coulee, dry gulched and robbed. Mayor Wayne heard about it and went to Bo Helen's saloon to hear more.
Good evening, Mayor.
Hello, Bo Helen. Got a brandy.
And what do you think of your great Jack Rett now, Mayor?
It looks bad.
Now, look, Mayor. Everyone knew Hack Crow carried his profits in his pocket. Always did that. So Rett allowed him to leave, and Todd Mallon and his men were waiting for him in the coulee. It's as simple as that.
We have no proof of that, Bo Helen.
No? And why didn't Rett take Mallon when he rode in here last night? Because they made a business arrangement, that's why.
Well, it doesn't look good, but... Shh. There's Rett now.
Barkeep, glass of rye.
I don't want to talk to him yet. I'm leaving. Good night, Bo Helen.
Good night, man. Mike, give me that rye. I'll take it over to the sheriff myself. Here's your drink, Sheriff. Mind if I sit down?
Game never changes, Bo Helen. I know what you're going to say.
I warned you I could break you, Rett.
It's an old story to me. Every town's got one insider who plays along with the outlaws. And I knew you to be that one here when I first saw you. Running a saloon, you'd know when a cattle buyer was riding out of town carrying a specie, when the overland stage was loaded with gold. There was a quarrel over the split of profits between you and Mallon, and you fell apart. That's always the way.
Very shrewd, Rett.
It's an old story, Bo Helen. I know it by heart.
Very shrewd. But you can't play the same game.
All sheriffs are supposed to be crooked.
You and Mallon had an agreeable little chat last night. Did he make you a good offer, Rett?
Maybe I should accept his offer, Bo Helen, just to keep you two split. Maybe I should do that.
Rett, I've seen sheriffs come and go. It's a chancy trade.
Sheriffs die. They all die. It's only a question of time.
You're a hard one, Jack Rett.
You might make your peace with Mallon. It'd have to be that way, otherwise you'll have little chance of getting rid of me, Bo Helen.
It may be that way.
I wouldn't be surprised. I always expect the worst of men, and am seldom disappointed.
It was turning dark as Jack Rett left Bo Helen's saloon. Crossing the street, he walked into his office, but continued on out through the back door. A few minutes later, he stood in the gathering shadows opposite the OK stable and watched Bo Helen ride out and drift into the prairie to the south. He knew now what to expect. It would happen soon, perhaps tomorrow. He returned to his office and slept the night there.
Come in. Well.
Morning. Rett, I want you to meet Mary Wayne.
Miss Wayne, very proud.
I wanted to know you.
To meet him, Mary, not to know him. Rett lives in a closed world.
See that? I have no friends.
We're to be married on Thursday, Mr. Rett. I should like you to be there.
I'd be most happy. Thank you.
Now, Mary, would you wait outside? I've got some business to discuss with the sheriff.
Of course, Matt. But don't be long. Goodbye, Mr. Rett.
Bye, Miss Wayne.
Rett, this afternoon I'm leaving to find Todd Mallon. You had your chance, but you let him go.
Wait, Traveler. Wait.
I've tried patience, Rett, and I'm a poor hand at it.
Traveler, you have a fine girl. If it's not presuming, let me congratulate you and compliment her.
Thank you. Was that all?
I'll take care of Mallon. Give me a little time. It's my job.
Rett, I want to believe you.
No man wearing a star should believe anybody. It's a weakness. Haven't I told you?
Blessed if I quite understand you, Rett.
And understand this. Every man has his time. When it comes, he knows it. There's no turning back. Nothing makes any difference then except to stand up to the finish and go out in decent style.
And yet you're the man never believes in giving another man a break.
Don't try to understand me.
You want help with Mellon?
I have no faith in help.
Coming, Mary.
Wait, Traveler. I'll suggest this much. Take one man. Ride due north to where the cattle trail crosses Tempest Creek. Be there tonight. Understand?
Rett, I'd hate to oppose you.
If you did, you'd lose. I've been 15 years at this, Traveler, which is 5 years beyond average luck.
That evening, Jack Rett took up his post on the porch of the Chinook Hotel, dressed in his best, a hard white shirt, a blood-red Windsor tie, and a suit of black broadcloth swelling around the big, uncompromising shoulders. He sat there calm behind the smoke of his cigar, waiting.
Full moon tonight, Sheriff.
That's right.
No offense, mind you.
Good evening, Rett.
Hello, Mayor Wayne. Mayor, have you seen Traveler?
He rode north this afternoon. He'll be back tomorrow, he said.
Good.
Where's the sheriff?
Here I am.
But listen, I just come up South Creek, and Todd Mallon and 6 men were only a quarter mile behind me, heading into town.
All right, friend. Take cover.
Yeah, sure.
Rett stood up and moved into the shadow at the end of the hotel porch. Across the street, Bohelen appeared in the full glow of the doorway of his saloon.
Come out in the dark and meet your prince, Jack Rett. What are you afraid of? They stolen Malin riding in to see you.
Thieves fall out, but the urge for profits brings them together again.
You should have known it, Rett.
Nothing surprises me.
Well, there you are, Rett. Surprised to find you exposing your great reputation out there in the middle of the street.
Every man has his time. You want to try it, Bohelen? Or will you wait for help?
I'll wait.
The arriving horses came up into the moonlit street and halted at the corner of the saloon. Bohelen's hand lifted toward the group, and at that order the horsemen spread out until they were flank to flank all across the street. Todd Mallon advanced from the line and stopped, square and alert above the saddle. Jack Rett stood alone in the middle of the street, his eyes flashing a hard fury. Then he dropped his cigar and ground it beneath the boot. It was a final gesture.
How are you, Mallon? Goodbye, gentlemen.
Next day, Red Mesa buried some more men out on the hill and talked of Jack Rett, who was more of a mystery to them now than when living. To all of them but one, Matt Travner.
Nobody knows a killer's world, Mary. Wasn't any room in Jack Rett for much pity. But he sent me away to save me from what he knew was coming. I think that was a kindness, although I had no fear.
It was a fine thing for him to do, Matt. But they say he stood in the middle of the street to face them all in the moonlight. Why? It wasn't his style.
As long as he was sure of himself, he never gave anybody an even chance, Mary. But killers live and die by instinct. And somewhere along the evening, he got the warning. After that, it was just a matter of pride. He killed Mallon and Bohelen before he died, standing up and in good style. And that's sort of a greatness, isn't it?
Under the direction of Norman MacDonald, Escape has brought you Wild Jack Rett by Ernest Haycox, especially adapted for radio by John Meston. Jack Rett was played by John Daner, with Larry Dobkin as Matt and Lou Krugman as Bohelen. Parley Bear was the narrator. Featured in the cast were Junius Matthews, Russell Simpson, Gene Bates, Paul Dubov, and Sam Edwards. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Ivan Ditmars.
Next week, we escape with the story of two small boys who discover the most fabulous Christmas ever dreamed of, as Anthony Ellis tells it in his delightful tale, The Cave.
Stay tuned now for Make Believe Town, which follows immediately on most of these same CBS stations. Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Lonesome present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are attempting to rescue a girl being held captive in a metals factory in the orbit of Jupiter Moon number 2. They have just entered the cargo hold of the plant and have raised the faceplates of their spacesuits.
Commander, someone's coming. I can see them through the door at the other end of the cargo hold.
That's Thor. Tag your ray gun now.
Yes, sir. Hey, Commander, I can't move. Something's holding my feet.
Someone turned on a magnetic force field, holding our metal spacesuits. Get out of your suit. Hurry.
Commander, look up above. The cargo plane is coming down on us with an Imperium beam on it.
We've got to get out of these suits. This magnetic field under us, that beam can crush us. We'll return in just a moment to today's exciting Space Patrol adventure, Peril over Jupiter. Gang, if ever there was a time to act, this is it. Yes, this is the day to send for that wonderful new Space Patrol microscope kit Buzz Corey's offering. This is the day because today is the last time we can make this offer. Now, just think. You get the official microscope of the Space Patrol. A microscope that magnifies objects 15 times natural size. A microscope small enough to put in your pocket, yet so powerful it shows you the living creatures in a drop of water. Strong, all-plastic body, 2 glass lenses, has removable lens tube. You can take it right from the microscope and use it alone to examine things like the bark on trees or the fungus on damp walls. And with this super microscope, you get 4 slides. Say you want to look at a blade of grass. Put it between 2 of the slides, slip them under the microscope, look at the lens tube, and there it is, a blade of grass 15 times actual size. You see details that amaze you, thrill you, mystify you. But wait, in addition to the microscope and the 4 slides, you also get a special slide with an atomic particle on it that glows and glows and glows in the dark. So remember, gang, now's the time to act. Now, today, this very morning, is the time to send for your Space Patrol microscope kit. Because today is the last time we can make this thrilling offer. Just buy a box of Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. Then, with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Don't forget your 25 cents. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, Peril over Jupiter. After completing a mission on Neptune, Commander Corey and Cadet Happy have returned to the man-made planet Terra. Now, in his central office at Space Patrol headquarters, Commander Corey is efficiently clearing up routine business that's accumulated during his absence. He looks up as Happy turns from the communications panel, a troubled frown on his face.
What is it, Happy? I hate to disturb you, sir, but it sounds pretty urgent. It's a woman named Carla Martin. She says her life is being threatened.
Major Gray put her through to my office. It must be urgent. I'll talk to her.
Yes, sir.
This is Commander Corey. May I help you?
Commander, this is Carla Markham. My father was Richard Markham.
Markham, the metals expert?
Yes.
I remember your father quite well, Miss Markham. Now tell me, what's this about your life being threatened?
To tell the truth, Commander, it hasn't actually been threatened yet, but I expect that it will be.
Oh, by whom?
By two men named Nelson Sprague and Duke George. For 2 years, they've been getting money from me under false pretense. Quite a lot of money.
How, Miss Markham?
When my father passed away, I took charge of his metal processing space plant in the orbit of Jupiter moon number 2.
Yes, I know the one you mean.
In about a month, Sprague and George showed up with some documents indicating that my father owed them quite a large sum of money.
And the documents were forged?
Yes, but I didn't find that out until a few weeks ago. When I refused to pay them any more money, they became quite angry and abusive.
Can you prove those documents are forgeries, Miss Markham?
Unfortunately, I can't. That's why I didn't go to space too immediately. Also, I'm afraid they could wreck the business. It took my father 20 years to build up unless I keep paying.
Forgery and extortion. And they've also threatened your life?
Hint that I might meet with a serious accident if I cause him any trouble.
Miss Markham, where are you now?
I'm at the Hotel Terra.
Do you have those documents from Sprague and Dort?
Yes, I do.
Can you be at my office this afternoon at 1500 hours?
Yes, Commander.
Well, bring all the evidence you have. Goodbye, Miss Markham.
Goodbye, Commander. Thank you.
Happy. Yes, sir? Check with Major Roberts and see if we have anything in the files on Nelson, Sprague, and Duke Dort.
Right, Commander.
Well, meanwhile, I'll contact Jupiter headquarters and have them space us on information on the matter.
Sprague.
Yes, Miss Markham. Dort and I thought we'd drop in. Hiya, Miss Markham.
I was just going out. If you'll excuse me.
We'll only stay a few minutes.
Really, I can't talk to you now.
If you're in a hurry, just give us what you owe us and we'll be on our way.
I don't owe you a cent. I never did, and neither did my father.
Now, that's where we differ. Now, we can talk privately, Miss Markham.
You have no right to force your way into this room.
And a nice room it is, too. I'll look around if you don't mind. You know, Miss Markham, we were almost ready to blast off to your Jupiter plant, thinking you were there. Then I space-phoned your chief engineer, and he told me you were here on Terra. Here on business?
No concern of yours.
I'm afraid it is. You might have caused us to make a long space flight for nothing. Hey, what's this? Does it go with the room?
Mr. Dort, put that down. It's Venus ceramic, and I don't want it broken.
More than a ceramic will be broken if we don't get that money, Miss Markham.
You've got all you're going to get. I know now that my father never owed you a single credit. All those contracts were forgeries.
We'll have a hard time proving it. Besides, for your own protection, it would be wise to pay us off completely. Now.
That sounds like a threat, Mr. Sprague.
It wouldn't take much of an accident to put that metals plant of yours out of commission.
You don't frighten me.
Hey, Sprague, look at this.
Get away from that desk.
Look what I found beside the spacer phone. A memo in Carla's handwriting.
Give me that.
Now, Miss Markham, don't you know it's rude to drag? Commander Corey, Space Patrol Headquarters, 1500 hours. Oh, an appointment with the Commander-in-Chief. What's this about?
It's none of your business.
She's got all our contacts lying there, Sprague. Lucky we dropped in. You're not going to keep that appointment, Miss Markham.
Oh, yes, I
You're going to call it off. You'll call Corey right in front of us and tell him you jumped at wrong conclusions. Then you're going to give us the money in cash. The whole 50,000 credits.
I don't have that much money. Not here on Terra.
You've got it in your Jupiter bank. We'll blast off for Jupiter right after you talk to Corey. Now get on that phone. I don't understand, Miss Markham. This morning you seemed very upset.
I know. I was very foolish. Everything's all straightened out.
And you're in no danger?
Oh, not in the least. I'm sorry it bothered you, but it's just that I've been working hard, and I imagine a lot of things just went through.
How about those two men? Miss Markham, can you hear me? What about those two men?
I was all wrong about them. They've canceled the agreement. I heard from my attorney on Jupiter by spacecraft.
I see.
And as I told you this morning, Commander, I'm leaving for Jupiter this afternoon. I hope you'll forgive me for being such a bother.
Of course, Miss Markham. Thanks for calling.
Goodbye, Commander.
Did that happen?
Yes, sir. Well, that means there's no appointment at 1500. We can get much more work done.
This morning she seemed to be sure that she was in danger. And now everything's fine.
Oh, I guess some women are like that, sir.
Perhaps the Carla Market has done a pretty good job in operating her father's space plant. That calls for level-headed thinking.
Like she said, the strain and
Yes,
all.
but wait. This morning she told me she was planning on staying on Terra for 3 days. Just now she said, as I told you this morning, I'm leaving for Jupiter this afternoon.
That's right.
That inconsistency might have been on purpose, maybe.
Why?
Perhaps she was forced to make that call just now.
By Sprague or Dork?
Yes. I have to watch what she said so they wouldn't get suspicious, but I would.
Could be, I suppose.
The more I think of it, the less likely it is that Carla Markham would accidentally misquote herself.
Then, in effect, she's telling you, don't believe anything I'm saying right now.
Exactly. Remember that pause?
Uh-huh. And I thought I heard a click.
She was getting instructions, no doubt. Get an official surface car, Happy. We'll rush over to the Hotel Terra and check.
Yes, sir.
While you're inside the hotel, I'll stay in the car and...
Looks like you were right, Commander.
What did you find out, Hap?
Miss Markham is checked out. The clerk said there were 2 men with her, and they left 10 minutes ago.
Did you know where they were going?
No, sir, but I talked to the doorman. He heard one of the men tell the driver of the surface cab to take him to the spaceport.
And that's where we're going.
We could spaceophone the spaceport and have the guard stop them.
There's no telling what Sprague and Dorch might do to Miss Markham if they see they're in a trap. The most we can risk right now is to try to delay a blast-off. Pretty nice little cruiser you've got here, Miss Markham. I wouldn't mind having it.
Don't worry, Sprague. You will.
Dorch, Miss Markham doesn't think that's funny.
You're thinking of stealing this ship. Just remember that it can be easily traced.
Oh, it won't be stolen. I'll rig up a nice legal-looking transfer of ownership. Dorch, check the rear view scope, see if we're being followed.
I've been watching it. We're safe.
Good. We'll go to her space plant and have her write us a check. We'll take care of the 2 engineers and fix all your communications equipment so you can't call for help while we're in Jupiter City. If we get the money, we'll see that you're rescued. If we don't, well, we'll find a way to wreck your plant.
Miss Markham's ship, sir. We could overtake them easily.
Yes, but if Sprague and his pals see us, it'll just put Miss Markham in danger. Let's just follow them and find out where they're going.
By the vectors they're on now, it looks like it'll be Jupiter.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps the Markham space plant in the orbit of moon number 2.
You think they'd take her to the plant?
Well, they might.
Oh, what did they turn out at that plant, Commander?
High-purity metals from ores hauled out from Jupiter. Chiefly zirconium and indurium. The advantage of the space plant is the low gravity and the ease of maintaining a perfect vacuum. The metals can be controlled perfectly by electronic heat fields and magnetic force. For example, a huge ball of molten indurium can be suspended inside a purification chamber without touching the side.
Wow. And the whole process is automatic.
That's right, Happy. 2 engineers run the whole thing. I don't want Sprague and Dorch to know they're being followed. Can't let them get a glimpse of the space patrol ship in their rear view scope.
Then we'll have to keep this much distance between us until they land.
Unless we have another ship. I'm going to spaceophone Lowell City, Mars, and have headquarters send a small cargo ship out to meet us in space. We'll transfer to the cargo ship, and we can get closer to Sprague and Dorch without endangering Miss Markham. You might as well sit down and relax, Miss Markham. We'll wait here in the plant control room till Dorch gets back.
What's he going to do to my crew?
Well, it depends. If they behave themselves, they won't get hurt. Oh, here he is now.
I got them both, Blake.
What did you do to them?
Just take it easy, miss. I merely put them to sleep with the ray gun.
Did they give you any trouble?
Nah. I got one of them while he was checking some instruments. The other was asleep in his bunk. They'll be out cold for 24 hours.
Nice work. Now, while Miss Markham is writing out a check, we can put all the spaceophone equipment out of commission. Start with
Cargo ship JC-302 calling Markham Space Plant, Jupiter 2 orbit. Cargo ship JC-302 calling Markham Space Plant.
Are you expecting a cargo ship?
The supply ship bringing food for the crew.
I thought you said it wasn't due for 2 days.
Well, sometimes it comes early.
Cargo ship JC-302 calling Markham Space Plant.
You better do something, Sprague.
Carlin, what's your chief engineer's name? Quickly.
Jensen, William Jensen.
Okay, keep her quiet, Dorch. I'll handle this. Markham Space Plant. Chief Engineer Jensen here. Go ahead, cargo ship.
We've got something for you. Is the cargo airlock clear?
It will be. Just unload the stuff. We'll take care of it later. We've got our hands full right now.
All right, Jensen, we can handle it. Cargo ship out.
Dorch, you go into the cargo hold and keep an eye on them. If they act sociable, impress them that we're very busy.
Suppose they say I'm not one of the regular crew.
Tell them you're filling in for a week. See that they get away in a hurry. Then you and I will blast off for Jupiter.
Open the cargo hatch, Happy. Suppose that was really the chief engineer on the space sir? Was. Sprague and Dorch were probably holding a gun on him. All right, close the hatch. Open your faceplate, Hap.
Now we'll plan our attack.
Yes, sir.
We'll move fast and take them by surprise. Probably in the main control room waiting for us to unload the cargo and leave.
him through the door at the other end of the cargo hold. That's good. Andrew is thick in that guy. Mustache. Heavy set.
Hi. Can I give you fellas a hand?
Thanks.
Maybe you can start bringing the stuff in.
We're Space Patrolmen, Doc.
Space Patrol.
Right. You can take us to your partner, Sprague, and Miss Markham.
Hey, what is this?
Go on, get moving. Hold your ray gun on him, Hopper.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Commander, I can't move. Something's holding my feet to the deck.
Someone turned on the magnetic force field. Holding our space boots. Get out of your space suit. Hurry.
Commander, look up above. The cargo crane is coming down on us with an Endurium beam on it.
You've got to get out of these suits. This magnetic field on Earth, that beam can crush us.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, how's your morning takeoff? Are you blasting off with your jets really roaring? Are you riding your bike like Buzz Corey rides his rocket? I mean with your speedometer smoking like a volcano on Venus. In other words, Space Patrollers, are you supercharged in the morning? Well, here's the way Commander Corey gets supercharged. He tucks away a power breakfast with Rice Chex or Wheat Chex, the super cereals. Try Rice Chex today. What'll you say? Delicious. Try Wheat Chex today. So swell tasting, you'll eat more and more and more and more. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex, the only cereals in the universe with that modern, bite-sized design for easy eating. The only cereals in the universe with a picture of Commander Corey or Cadet Happy on the outside of the package. The only cereals in the universe with that mysterious magic space picture on the inside of the package. The super cereals that help us supercharge you. Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. And now, back to our Space Patrol adventure, Peril over Jupiter. Nelson Sprague and Duke George are extorting money from Carla Markham, who operates a robot-controlled metals plant in the orbit of Jupiter's number 2 moon. The two men forced Carla to take them to the plant in her own spaceship, where they overpowered the 2 engineers and are holding Carla. Commander Corey and Cadet Happy trailed Miss Markham's ship from Terra, then approached the metals plant in the small supply ship. Wearing spacesuits, they entered the cargo hold of the plant through the airlock, where they found Duke George. As the commander ordered George to take them to Carla Markham and Sprague, a powerful magnetic field was turned on beneath the deck of the cargo hold, making it impossible for the space patrolmen to walk. Then, from above, a huge loading train lowered a heavy Endurium beam down upon them. George, who is not wearing metallic shoes, is not affected by the magnetic field.
Commander, I can't get out of my spacesuit. Something's stuck.
That beam will down us in a few seconds. George, cut that magnetic field.
You'll have to talk to Sprague about that.
You asked for it, Corey. You weren't invited aboard, you know.
Is that Sprague?
Yes, it's Sprague. I'm in the cargo control booth watching you through a view scope.
Stop that train.
Stop it. I only wish I could lower it faster.
We can't lift that feet, but we can slide on the press magnetized floor. You mean sort of straighten? I'll pretend to try to dodge the train. You slide back to the airlock. And leave you here? But why can't we both go?
That dodging isn't going to do you any good, Corey. Sooner or later, I can lower this beam on you. Keep out of the way, George.
Don't worry, Sprague. Hey, the other one's getting away.
Run over there and stop him, George. Don't let him get into the ship.
Yeah, okay. Hey, but watch the train while I'm under. I'm in the airlock, sir.
All right, Happy. When I give the word, open it and release the air escape valve. All right, Sprague. You can let all the air out of this cargo hold in just a few seconds. The cadet and I have spacesuits on. We can close our face plates and we'll be safe. But your partner will be in a bad way.
Don't let him do it, Sprague. Stop him.
Get away from that airlock.
Then turn off that magnetic field and stop the train.
Do what he says, Sprague. Please.
Now, all right.
Now, Sprague, come down here to the cargo hold and bring Miss Markham with you.
Supposing you come up and get me.
All right. And remember, we've got your pal Dortch here.
You remember, I've got Carla Markham.
Come on, Happy. Keep your ray gun on Dortch. Yes, sir. Go on, Dortch.
This is the controller.
Go on in and don't try anything.
Welcome aboard, Commander.
Commander, I tried to make him stop the train.
Yes, I was forced to tie her up.
Untie her. Are you hurt, Miss Markham?
No, I'm all right, but my 2 engineers.
What have you done to them, Sprague?
I was just about to tell you,
You put
Commander.
them in the electronic furnace.
What? Now, Commander, there's no need to be alarmed. The temperature isn't very high in there yet. But if I were to turn this dial, it'd be hot enough in that furnace to melt Endurium in just a few seconds.
Sprague, get away from that instrument.
I'll come a step nearer, Commander. But even if you shoot me with that ray gun, I still have time to spin this dial.
And he'd do it, Commander. He really would.
I don't doubt it. So that puts me in quite a strategic position, Commander. Unless, of course, you want to sacrifice those two engineers. I suppose you want a chance to get away, is that it? A little more than that. Miss Markham has some money in the Jupiter City Bank that I could use quite nicely. Torch and I are going after it. After Miss Markham writes the check.
I'll write it. Just don't hurt those men.
Torch, collect their weapons. Give me a gun, Happy. There's nothing we can do now. No, there's nothing you will be able to do. Torch and I are going to smash up all the spacephone equipment in this plant, including those in your spacesuits. Then we'll take your cargo ship and cut it loose in space. Here, Dorch, you guard them while I smash up the spacephones. The sooner we blast off the two... Certainly did a thorough job of wrecking the communications equipment.
Well, sir, nothing but junk. But maybe there's a small transmitter somewhere that they overlooked.
Well, let's check with this Markham.
Where'd you go?
She's trying to revive those two engineers.
We sure had a close call. One twist of Sprague's wrist, and they'd have been part of a batch of molten Endurium.
Here's Carla now.
Any luck, Commander?
No, we really smashed the equipment. How are the engineers?
I'm afraid we just have to wait till the ray gun effect wears off.
We could revive them. Might be able to assemble a makeshift transmitter out of some of this junk. Well, maybe there's a small set we've overlooked.
I'm afraid they got every one, Commander.
We'll have to see what we can do about rebuilding one ourselves. Where are the spacephone parts, Miss Martin?
There might be some in that cabinet.
All right, Happy, let's get busy. Up there in the rear view scope, Spike. You didn't expect anyone to be after us, did you?
I won't rest easily until Jupiter's just a pinpoint in that view scope.
Relax. We've got the money. As far as the bank's concerned, Carla Markham was just paying off a legitimate business debt.
I know. But we're flying her ship. We better land on some nearby planet to get another.
I've got that all figured out, too. There's a friend of mine on Mars who'll meet us in space. And we can abandon Carla's ship.
Yeah, but what about Carla and Corey?
We'll take care of them, George. That's where we're going now. The space.
How are you coming, Commander?
Oh, we're about ready to make a test, Carla. If the spaceophone works, we'll have help here inside of an hour.
Yeah, then we can go after Sprague and Dorch.
Connect us wire, Happen. We'll be ready.
Yes, sir.
Commander, isn't there a spaceship out there? Where that glint is?
Yes. Seems to be coming toward us. Hurry with that connection, Happen.
It's all ready, sir. Maybe we can contact that ship.
If it's Sprague and Dorch, we won't want to. Now, let's see if the set works.
The meters check, sir.
Here goes. Attention, all Space Patrol units in Jupiter sector. Emergency message. This is Commander Corey aboard Markham Space Plant in Jupiter 2 orbit.
Commander Corey aboard Markham Space Plant in Jupiter 2 orbit. Units in this region will proceed at once to the plant. Watch for stolen private cruiser JP450, possibly between Jupiter and this location.
They got a space patrol. We got to stop them quick.
Yeah, but how?
We'll wreck the space plant.
This ship isn't armed.
We can wreck it with our rocket blast. We'll come in with our nose rocket blasted.
How do you know what part of the plant they're in?
We'll destroy the air supply units. That'll fix them wherever they are. All right, Dorch. Cut in those forward rockets.
It's Sprague and Dorch, all right. It's my ship.
Crazy fools. They're heading right toward the plant without cutting speed.
They probably heard our spacephone want to put us out of business.
If they ram us, they'll put themselves out of... Uh-oh. They've got nose rockets on.
Commander, did the Space Patrol hear your message?
I can't tell for sure. We don't have a receiver. They probably do. Hey, what's Sprague up to? He's not heading for an airlock.
Then why doesn't he cut his rear rockets? He's burning fuel at both ends.
Trying to wreck the plant. He'll do it, too.
Air unit. He's going to wreck the air supply.
Quick, Happy. Close that compartment door. We've got to seal this room off from the rest of the plant.
Yes, sir. Secure, sir. Well, they've torn up a whole hunk of the plant with their nose rockets.
They'll keep blasting away till they're sure we're finished.
And we don't have a doggone thing to fight back with.
The Space Patrol would only get here.
We're moving around for another attack. This time we probably won't be so lucky.
We ought to get out of this control room. They'll probably blast this part next.
Yeah, but we can't be sure there's any air outside this compartment.
Then we're helpless.
Now, wait a minute. When we blasted the air unit, we tore away part of the section next to the furnace.
Yes, that's where the molten Endurium's cooled and rolled in place. The metal's forced from the furnace through those pipes.
Carla, is this the dial that turns the furnace on?
Yes.
Is there Endurium in the furnace?
Several tons of it. Why?
Well, let's heat it up. We'll give Sprague and Dorch something to... All right, Dorch, let's make another pass. This time we'll hit the control section.
Well, let's not get too close this time. Suppose something explodes.
Ray, this is 4-8. Cut your rockets. Don't waste time with an argument because we don't have a receiver. If you try to do any more damage, we'll blast you to bits.
Listen to that, George. Who does he think he's kidding?
Wait, look, they're firing at us. Hey, what are they using?
I missed you on purpose that time, Sprague. We've got tons of molten endurium in the furnace. We can keep pouring it at you.
George, cut in the forward rockets. We'll get him quick.
Wait, listen, that molten endurium can tear right through our ship.
Do what I tell you.
But they've had us. They're tearing us apart.
Cut rockets. George, you hear me? Cut rockets.
That was close, Sprague. Oh, look at the instruments. Our power's going. They've knocked out our power.
Sprague, this is 4-8. Your ship looks pretty badly damaged. Give yourself in the control cabin to prevent loss of air.
Right. We are losing air.
Seal that compartment door quick.
Just keep calm, Sprague. I've got good news for you and Dortch. We've just sighted a Space Patrol squadron headed this way. Corey out.
Dortch, did you seal that door?
I sealed it, Sprague. And before the Space Patrol gets here, there's just one thing I want to get off my chest.
Yes, what is it?
Just... Oh. You and your big ideas. An action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure in just a moment. It's a quiet day at Space Patrol headquarters. Cadet Happy is alone, gazing around in the commander's office. Suddenly, he sees a piece of paper on the desk that makes his head whirl. For there, in big black letters, Hap reads,
"The Space Patrol microscope kit offer ends today." Jumping Jupiter, I wonder if the commander has seen this bulletin. Gosh, every boy and girl has to have one of these kits. Why, it's a real Space Patrol microscope, and it magnifies objects 15 times, and it's pocket size and all plastic, and you get 4 transparent slides with it, plus the mystery slide. Gosh, I got to tell the commander about this offer, so he'll be sure to tell the gang about it.
And so Hap hurries across the office, swings open the door, and whambo, crashes right into the commander.
Oh,
right on my foot.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir, but did you know that today's the last day for the microscope offer?
Yes, I had Captain Tufeld announce it at the beginning of today's Space Patrol program.
Huh? That's all.
Out like a light.
Mike? Well, Hap had the right idea. It's very important to know that today is the last time we can offer the Space Patrol microscope kit. So hurry and send for it now. Just buy a box of rice checks or wheat checks. Then with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and a rice checks or wheat checks box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Commander Corey's ship has been forced to land on Planet X in the outermost regions of the solar system. Realizing that Prince Baccarati's powerful magnetic beam makes it impossible for them to control their spaceship, Buzz and Happy have stepped out into a mist-covered valley.
Well, the question now is, where do we go from here?
Head north, Happy, toward Baccarati's castle.
What's that?
I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't like the sound.
Commander, look! It's a gigantic lizard.
It's a dinosaur, Happy, and it's coming toward us. Get back to the ship. Hurry, Happy. It's gaining on us.
What a monster.
Quick, into the ship and secure the airlock.
Hey, he's trying to get in. He's flying at the ship's hull.
He's got to do something, Happy. He's big enough to crush this ship like an eggshell.
Be sure to join us next week for the menace of Planet X, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Wilson again present Space Patrol. Special bulletin for boys and girls in Akron, Ohio, Albany, Schenectady, and Troy, New York. Buzz Corey's own space battle cruiser, the Ralston Rocket, will be in your area next week. Don't miss it. The Ralston Rocket. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey, and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston, produced and directed by Larry Robertson, executive producer Mike Dever. Other players were Virginia Hewitt, Norman Jolly, and Ken Mayer. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when wheat checks, rice checks, and Good Hot Wilson again presents Space Patrol. Be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol story on your local ABC television station. Consult your local newspaper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.